then that's going to give you even more time around this circuit, as Alex Gillen is tucked up right behind a McLaren at the moment. Not too sure if he's going to be starting a lap or getting into... he's actually coming into the pit lane. So no lap set there for Alex Gillen. Currently our fastest driver, Elray Guri, on those intermediate tyres, with Tiamat Marduk just rising to the top in that moment there. But there is still time left on the clock, 1 minute 20 for those drivers who are currently on a lap to get that lap time in. If they're in the pits at the moment, sadly, I don't think they're going to get...
Difference there, a 1:31.559. That is 2.2 seconds of a difference there between the two McLarens. That goes to show the pace differential between the Inters and the Slicks.
Yeah, Slick's obviously going to be so much better. But I feel like there's more valuable time to be found around this circuit on the slick tyres. There's not really the greatest lap there from Punju. He'll be looking for a better lap if that was on slick tyres. At the moment, we're watching, F1 Scott on those slick tyres, going through the triple chicane where he actually got killed in a Red Bull car yesterday by yours truly. This time, though, he gets through. He sighs a little bit of relief, and he will come round the final corner, set his lap time, and it's going to be a 1:31.8 as well. So maybe, actually, the lap times on the softs aren't that much quicker compared to the guys on the intermediates. Time will tell as we get later on into the session. Just want to apologise if we experience any technical issues. The stream should be back up now. We should all be running very, very smoothly. So sorry about that, but we're back now with the Intermediate Championship here in qualifying, and we're going to be seeing who's going to be getting that extra point.
Yeah, keep our eyes on the time remaining. Of course, we've currently got yellow flag conditions, and we are beyond the 12th minute. So at this stage, I'm guessing that's Tiamat Marduk who has taken the intermediate tyre prize.
Yeah, Tiamat Marduk, just going to double check, and it is, Tiamat Marduk, the fastest driver on those intermediate tyres. So he will get that extra point, and do you know what that means, George Morgan?
What does that mean?
Tiamat Marduk has reached 1,000 points in the Creator Series. Who would have thought he would have done it with an intermediate championship point? But congratulations to Tiamat Marduk, our first driver in Creator Series to reach the milestone of 1,000 points, which is just an incredible feat to achieve.
And do you know what else it means, Hayden? It also means he moves into second in the Drivers' Championship, ahead of Tom 97. Obviously, there was only a point separating them. 2 points lifts him higher than the Visa Cash App RB driver. So a great chance now for him to focus all his efforts on Elray Guri. And we'll wait and see whether he can achieve that. Obviously, Elray here in the session too, with registering a 1:33.980 on his intermediate tyre run down in 4th place. F1 Scott, though, registering that time at toppled Tiamat Marduk from 2nd place. Only his was on soft rubber. We've got a few cars allowed to track, B-Roy being one of them alike. Infratic looking to also set his very first laps as we now wait for him to cross the line. Obviously, he is on green banded tyres as well, but that will not count towards the intermediate tyres run because we are well beyond the 12th minute, but goes 7th fastest regardless. He'll come back in, no doubt, in for a set of slick tyres. Hoodie Pete, not messing about by any means, Hayden, straight on the softs.
No, of course, doesn't want to get involved in those intermediate runs, and sometimes it's wise not to do that. If you don't believe you have the confidence to get yourself up the front, if you're one of those drivers that's always on the fringes of getting knocked out in Q1, your main aim is to get into Q2, and that's your achievement of this session, then you don't want to be wasting your time on those intermediate tyres, and you also don't want to get yourself into the rhythm of how to drive on those intermediates, because you've got to brake a little bit early. You've got to be slightly easier on the traction out of the corner, and you can't carry the speed as much through the corner as well. So Hoodie Pete doesn't want to get his mindset into that intermediate run. He just wants to keep himself fresh on the soft tyres and really go for it in this Q1 session to try and break into that top 15 and progress to the next round. As it stands, of course, he has not set a time yet. Our fastest drivers on those intermediate, on those soft tyres so far, F1 Scott, JD Devil Noob, and Punju, but they're going to be under pressure, of course, from these drivers who are yet to set a lap. But yep, Hoodie P at the moment, now going down that long Las Vegas strip. He's got a few cars just a little distance ahead of him, so he's going to be trying to pick up a slipstream off both of those. The Mercedes moved in front, but then got out of the way, so I don't think that would have affected his time. Maybe actually given him a slight little boost with that extra time, but he really rode over the curb there. It's not a curb that you can get away with driving over. It really does like to slingshot the car, so you do have to be careful with that. But rounds the final corner, comes across the line. Hoodie Pete, what would the time be good enough for? It's a 1:32.9. He's definitely going to have to go again to get into Q2.
Yeah, second off F1 Scott on the same compound of tyre as well. But those that started their runs on intermediates have now decided to ditch them. Straight onto the soft rubber now. There are the best times that were registered on the Inters. Timoth Marduk confirmation that he is, of course, the fastest driver on intermediate tyres. Meraki comes up towards the line now, 6th fastest on Inters. That, again, will not obviously count towards any intermediate tyre championship. But in this case, I think just flexing those muscles in the Williams, just suggesting that he will be rapid here tonight. Could he go back-to-back in 2 weekends running, taking victories in the Creator Series? Zafso goes fastest, though, and that was a very fast time indeed, a 1:31.309 on the soft rubber, ahead of Punju by just over 2.5 tenths of a second. And a grand return once more from our Season 1 Creator Series champion, the man who dons the aviators with a mane like a lion. Zafso on top here in the Alpine.
He's had some really good pace, I feel like, so far on this F1 24 game. He's been looking strong so far this season. Looked good for him in Australia, but then unfortunately it fell apart due to strategy. Here comes Matty D over the line now. And he's going to be into the top 5 so far. And now the other PC has died for Dirk. Are we off? Are we off air, or are we still going? We're going to have to be radio commentators now. We're still on air. Okay, apologies for the technical issues, everybody. I still have the broadcast up, so I'm going to share it with you, George, so you can see what is going on track. And we're going to become your radio commentators for the time being, whilst our producer, Dirk Chocolate, gets everything back up and running. So Matty D's currently set lap time. Who do you want to watch on board, George? Who do we need to look at?
I think at this point, if we take a look up and down the order, I think Alex Gillen, I think, would be a very interesting one. Obviously, currently not registering a lap just yet, but he's about to cross the line and goes 4th fastest straight away. 1:31.625. And of course, this is the man who currently sits 4th in the championship, is a former Creator Series champion alike too. So do not discount him for a chance of taking the big prize here tonight. B. Roy, of course, someone who has been in the wars as of late, but looking to come back this time and redeem himself, I would say. But coming down Harmon Avenue with a trip through the final couple of corners. What can Dark Viper GT bring to the table? It's a 1:30.787 from Dark Viper GT. And that is a Viper move if I've ever seen one. Alray Giri joining him in the 1:30s. The track's starting to pick up heat, pick up steam here, Hayden. We're finding now that these guys are finding extra grip, extra delta now as the track starts to warm up.
Yeah, certainly so. I mean, Dark Viper's somebody who has been impressing in the F2 series. Him and Guat so far at the end of the season after Lolanoba got his promotion. Lolanoba not taking part today. We wish him all the best with his recent surgery and hope that he has full recovery. And we look forward to welcoming him back to Creator Series F1. But since Lolanoba's departure and move up promotion to F1, it's been Dark Viper and it's been Guats who have been really impressing it. And Dark Viper showing that potentially, you know, he should be another driver moving into the F1 scene, because that is a stunning lap from Dark Viper to put himself near the top. Zafso thinks of this session, that's enough for him. P4, he's happy with the 1:31.3, and he is going to be taking it easy now for the rest of this session and waiting, of course, to get into Q2. He thinks that's going to be good enough. And look at some of the names in this session. I think he could be in that safe phrase. The drivers that are usually going to be in that drop-off zone, you look at Bamford, you're looking at B-Roy. You're also looking at drivers like Hoodie Pete, Yours and Silly, Matty D, Devil Noob, and Punju that are usually fighting to break out of that Q1. And of course, we could get a surprise here today. But it'll be looking for those guys. And B-Roy just comes across the line there and puts himself up into P14.
Yeah, there's quite a few cars, though, further down that are still yet to set their soft tyre runs. And Timoth Marduk and Meraki being two of those drivers, both on outlaps. We're currently watching Meraki's teammate, Yours Sincerely, beckon his way into the pits. Obviously invalidating that previous run. We'll look to rethink and go again. No doubt sticking a fresh set of tyres on. B-Roy just one spot away from being on the bubble, and Timoth Marduk could be looking to evict him further down. Like you got the two Ferraris as well further down, not making or not moving a muscle in the pits either, Infratic and Yorper. But Yorper, as I say that, now venturing out onto the track. After nestling in a 1:34.046 that will nowhere near be representative at the very end. Of course, done on intermediate tyres, no less, I'm sure. But coming in now on the softs, Bamford MB, also for his first runs on the slick tyres. outlap underway for him. Tom 97 also out on track right now in the RB. Of course, the driver that, like we said earlier on, had a feast load of mistakes back at Australia. It was a tough time for the RB driver, and we'll be looking to come back, I'm sure, in a flurry. And as I say that, he certainly does. Goes 7th fastest, Tom 97. So not a bad effort on his part at all. TM Marduk and Meraki now on their fast runs. So we'll wait and see what the McLaren driver and, well, the two Creator Series champions, let's see what they can do. B-Roy invalidating his previous run.
Yeah, who's going to be one of the first coming across the line? TM Marduk, should we look out for him? Let's see what he can do in this lap. So, down in the drop zone at the moment. Got that extra point from intermediates, but of course, for the championship, regardless of his 1,000 point marker for the championship, he's going to want to put in a very, very solid effort to get himself near the top of the timing screens, and of course then fight for what would be pole position later on when we get into Q3. And that's going to give him the best chance, of course, of scoring a good result. But with Las Vegas, anything can really happen over the course of the race. It's all about being near the front when that last safety car has been used. And that's, of course, what could happen. You could take a qualifying ban. You could be starting right at the back of the grid for this race, and it would not mean absolutely anything, because everything can change so quickly. As we're riding now on board with Tom 97 that you can see on the broadcast, but we're watching Team Marduk, because that guy Vince thinks 4th position is enough, and it looks very comfortable for him as well. Over the line comes Meraki. He shoots up to P3, but where will TM Marduk put himself around the final corner?
Well, we'll soon find out. Coming out of Harmon Avenue and down the straight goes 6th fastest with a 1:31.267. The man in Papaya now managing to crawl himself up the order. Now he's not alone, because Yorpa is also on the move as we ride on board with the Ferrari. Coming through the next right-hander now. Yellow flags, caution in Sector 1. No doubt there's a little bit of traffic ferrying their way out of the pit lane. GB68 retiring as well in P8. Now, what I will say is that I wouldn't necessarily suggest that it is safe, really, in that lower point of the top, top 10, because of course you've got so many names that could yet ferry themselves onwards. F1 Scott is rapid, Alex Gillen is rapid, Tom 97 could improve, Yorpa could improve, and Infratic's performances as of late suggest that there's a lot of pace in that Ferrari, much like his teammate Devil Noob also retiring as well. As Yorpa comes through this next right-hander, 50 seconds remain here on the clock, and there could be an essence of jeopardy as we come into the closing moments here in Q1 in qualifying. Round the final corner comes Yorpa. Can he improve? Goes fastest with a 1:30.685 and notches himself up at the top, removing Dark Viper, and his teammate is not too far behind, Hayden.
Yep, F1 Scott now coming round the final corner. What can he do in this qualifying session? Currently just on the fringes of the drop zone, and he doesn't improve. So stays in P15, but I think there's enough time to maybe try and get around another lap in this session. Watching here now with Infratic, what can he do? He's got a long way left to go on the rest of this lap. There are other drivers coming round and crossing the line to end their lap, including Punju. Punju, what can he do? He moves up into the top 10, so he does improve on this lap. And I think those drivers, they are safe, just because there's such a huge gap between the drivers at the front and the drivers at the back, as I think Dark Viper just moved into 2nd place. Infratic, though, going down the Las Vegas Strip, currently in the drop zone, currently last of everybody in this qualifying session, a 1:34.3. He'll be disappointed if that's the final lap time that he can get in, but he'll be looking to improve through the chicane now. The chicane that took everything away from him in F2 and fighting for a podium last night, but he managed to get through there without B-Roy clattering into the side of him. Now down in towards the final corner. Can Infratic move himself into Q2 across the line? And he can. He's into P8, and it's a 1:31.2.
He's been to the gym, Hayden. He's been to the gym, and he's now 8th fastest as a result. 1:31.218, and puts himself higher than Tim Marduk, who now is reduced to 9th. Alex Gillen is on the bubble, and I wouldn't necessarily say safe if there's anyone who can find a little bit of extra time, but we all know that Alex Gillen is tenacious. He will go through regardless if he remains in P15, but you'll want to make sure of it. 14th fastest now, as we're seeing Punju disqualified from qualifying. So that is Tiamat Marduk's teammate, who has now been disqualified from action here in quali. Alex Gillen coming around the final corner out of Harmon Avenue late in the day, but enough for 11th fastest, to 1:31.280. Goes behind his long-term rival Tiamat Marduk as across the line comes B-Roy, and he is out of qualifying.
Yep, he will join yours sincerely, Matty D, Hoodie P, and Punju getting knocked out in this qualifying session. Now, Punju was clear. Punju was in the top 10. He was very much safe. But he got disqualified, and what popped up was driving the wrong way on the track. The only thing I can suspect is he had a bit of a spin, was facing the wrong way, was either just keeping his car in the same position or rolling ever slightly just to stay out of the way of other drivers that were potentially on hot laps. But in doing so, has thrown it all away. And it's just a strange situation to happen. It was already clear. He'd already done his fast lap. Why was he pushing so hard on his in lap to get himself disqualified? So Punju will be starting this race at the back. However, it will not matter to him because it is such a long race. Keeping clean will be the important part of Las Vegas. And if you can do that, that'll be good. And look at that on as well. Tiamat Marduk has a 5-place grid penalty as well. We completely missed that on the broadcast. But Tiamat Marduk will be starting 5 places lower down, as will Hoodie Pete. So potentially those two have come together. But your drivers knocked out in Q1. Yours sincerely, Matty D, B-Roy, Hoodie Pete, and Punju will not progress into the top 15.
Yeah, pole position for Yorper. Not pole position, I should say, fastest in Q1 for Yorper, which is quite the statement in its own right for him. Very, very well done to that young man. Obviously, a former league racer, very successful league racer, and certainly seemed to be following in that vein of form once more, only this time in the Creator Series. But a few losses there. I would argue maybe a few, I would say a few frailties, I would say, on the back of Alex Gillen. Not necessarily impressed with that last gasp lap there, Hayden. I would say, though, statement made by the likes of Dark Viper GT and Yorper. They might look like the ones to watch here tonight. Yeah,
Yorper we know has incredible pace, and Dark Viper, as I say, has been really impressing in F2. I think he jumped on, did a bit of practice straight after the F2 race yesterday, and potentially has been doing a lot of running since that F2 race. But yeah, I'm excited to see how he can do in this race, because I know that the pace is there from F2. Let's see if it can transfer and move up and see, you know, the difference really between the top end of the F2 drivers and, of course, the F1 grid as well. So my eyes are on Dark Viper. I wish him all the best in this qualifying and the race, and see what he can do as drivers immediately getting out on track. One of those being the Haas driver of Alex Gillen. Maybe you're right, not happy with his performance there in Q1, getting the laps in to build up the rhythm, because it's a street circuit. And with street circuits, you need to build up that confidence. You need to find where the grip is, find your confidence around the circuit to then give you that best opportunity later on in the race. He's just invalidated going through what I believe is turn 4. Yeah, tricky time in the opening session, but you never know. When, well, a stone is not polished without rubbing at the end of the day, so you never know. We might see some upturn here for Alex Gillen. But naturally, this circuit, we've alluded to the fast-paced nature of it. There is also some very tricky 90-degree corner sections, especially coming out of the first sector into Sector 2, that first DRS straight that takes you out of Turn 4 down through towards Turn 5. That is where you meet the Koval Lane sector of the track. And obviously with that power of DRS, obviously it gives you that greater pace, but you've got to be wary of that 90-degree bend at Turn 5. And then, of course, the S is coming through Turn 6, 7, 8, through towards Turn 9, where you'll then finally meet the Boulevard stretch coming out of Turn 13 later on, after taking that long, fast-paced run out of 9, 11, 10, 11, and 12. But yeah, very, very harsh circuit. You could be rewarded for your bravery, but you can be punished as well at the same time, as Alex Gillen right on board with him right now in the Haas, as he now powers his way out of Harmon Avenue down the home straight, where he'll now meet Turn 1 very, very short. You can just see they're progressively braking, really taking that curb aggressively as well. And they are slightly raised here at Vegas. Some of them are flat, but many of them are raised. You need to be cautious, because any amount of understeer, any amount of, should we say, lateness on the brakes, it can really cause you to lose so much. And I'm not just talking about speed, but I'm also talking about car control, and that could be the difference between actually moving through qualifying or actually DNFing altogether. But Gillen keeping it together, coming through the S's now, making his way through the next left and right, and he'll then sweep through around this tricky Turn 9, and now he's got this fast-paced straight that'll take him down through Sands Avenue, through towards Turns 10 and 11 as well. Turn 12 will come up soon, and then the DRS detection point will be met on the run down through towards Sector 3 and Turn 13 at Las Vegas Boulevard. He's got a sea of cars out in front. He'll be hoping to get a little bit of slipstream off the back of this and try and register his first lap onto the board in Q2. 11 minutes and 40 to go. The Haas now burning its way down out of Turn 13 through towards the tight chicane of
14 and 15. The scenes, obviously, of where we saw GB68 get it oh so wrong not too long ago here in the Creator Series, losing out on that what could have been a famous first win as Safso registers a 1:31.8. Dark Viper GT with a 1:31.586. Alex Gillen looking to register his first. Remember, we did see times in the 1:30s of the previous session. Alex Gillen, no such luck, splits the two with a 1:31.642.
Yeah, a lot closer than to Dark Viper than he was earlier. There goes that guy Vince, though, to the top now. Showing some really good pace in Q1. Was one of the drivers who, as we like to say, ego retired. Thought that he was clear, and it was worth the shot because now they've got fresh, soft tyres available to them. Just before we went on board with that lap with Alex Glynn, we actually saw a replay of exactly what happened to Punji, and I believe he just went deep down in towards the runoff area of turn 3, and then in waiting for a clear patch to rejoin onto the circuit without interrupting anybody's qualifying laps, was just rolling in the wrong direction. The counter came up on the top, being stopped on track as well that he was trying to avoid. So couldn't stop on track, but also couldn't drive backwards. And unfortunately, both those just came together and he got disqualified from the session. So unfortunate there for Punju. But as we said earlier, qualifying, whilst it is important to try and fight for pole position and to get yourself at the front, this race is going to be chaotic, and it really will not matter whether you start at the front or the back. There is potential to win no matter where you are in the field. So watching now on board with Tom97. He's coming down the Las Vegas strip into the tricky triple chicane. Now, the first part of the corner, you've got to be careful with. You cannot fully ride those curves, otherwise it will unsettle the car, and you have to be prepared to catch it. Tom97 avoids it, but then fully cut the second part. Keep it nice and tight to the wall through the third part. Try and pick up a faint toe, but it's a little bit too far ahead and the car's coming into the pit lane, so won't get slipstream down in towards this final corner. Through the final corner, keep it tight to the line, and that's Tom97 going to 6th position. And it's not a fast lap there from the RB car, as Meraki right behind him, I think picking up a perfect toe from the RB car, moves up to P2, but then is immediately toppled by the Ferrari of Yorpa.
Yorpa is looking venomous here, and I must say credit to Tom97, even despite the slipstream, obviously managing to nestle a time in the early 1:32s, but obviously it's not representative. It certainly won't secure him safety, especially with some of the names we're seeing in the bottom 6 right now, as we're now watching Unstop Rob, of course an F2 Creator Series champion. Tom97 alone, 32 races in the past in the Creator Series. This is his 33rd, 10 race wins to his cause, 20 podiums, 24 top 10s, and 2 sprint race victories alike. He is certainly a big player in this championship, and Stop Rob could yet be a big player here in Creator Series F1 as well. Vastly associated with some of the top teams in F1 sim racing, and was very much part of the Alpine fold as well historically too. Now venturing out on his own and really getting into the cusp of his content creation, and has really burnt bright in the Creator Series, especially, like I said, in the F2 Championship, where he would become champion in his first season in the series, and now making his way down the long straight, where he'll come out of Las Vegas Boulevard and heading down Harmon Avenue very shortly. But first and foremost, that tricky chicane that is going to be lying in wait for him here as we ride on board with the Mercedes now. Certainly would not be unruly to see Unstop Rob up at the top. We probably generally expect it, given the reputation he carries. But powering down this long straight, 7th gear, will very soon become 8 as he now makes his way out of turn 16 very shortly and through towards turn 1 across the line. Just barely enough for safety, and is in fact slower than Tom97 by 23 thousandths of a second. Actually, less than that.
Tom97. Yes, less
19.
Less than
19,
that. Yeah, very, very close. But again, not a good lap. I assume that's going to be on a used set of tyres. They're saving their set of tyres. They think they have the pace to get into Q3. But yeah, for Onstop Rob, this sort of banker lap is not really a banker lap, because he's way down at the back of the field and is not showing good pace. Somebody who has been showing really good pace all season, this guy right here, our championship leader, Elray Guri, coming now in towards the final proper corner of this circuit. Oh, a bit wide, but nails the second part of the chicane. You've got to cut it, but try not to get invalidated as well. There's a very fine line between the wall and the runoff area, and if you can get that perfect, it's a lot of time gained. Elray, though, across the line, and of course, rises to the top with a 30.8. An exceptional lap there from Elray Guri. And you know what? think he could be safe already. I think that might be enough just to relax, get yourself ready for Q3 and save those tyres. GB taking a different approach though through that chicane, riding the curb through the first part, then of course massively attacking the second part as everyone else is doing. But it's the first part that's the difference between multiple drivers, and maybe that's where the time is found. GB P4 is a good lap. Will it be safe? Time will tell. There's still a lot of time, I think, on the cards, and I think there'll be a lot of drivers who will be going for faster laps, and I think GB won't potentially be able to retire from this session just yet and go to Q3. Here we go though. Bamford has managed to find himself into Q2. He's going to ride over the first part of the chicane, and that's what I mean. That's why it's dangerous to do that, because it will unsettle your car. If you can attack it and keep your car comfortable, you could potentially gain yourself time. But if you're unsettled with the car, you're not quite fully confident, touching that curb is going to unsettle it even more. And of course, something like that could happen. You can invalidate. That's the easy option. The bad option is going straight into that wall and completely being out of not only qualifying, but maybe later on in the race. Team at Marduk, though, to the line. What can he do?
Oh, we'll soon find out. Here comes the Aussie up towards the line, third fastest, decent time. 1:31.167. I'm sure more of the drivers are looking to try and ferry their way into the 1:30s with the likes of El Reguri and Yorpa, but still a great lap there for Tim at Marduk in a very timely fashion. Zafso, Season 1 champ, back at it again. We saw his run in Q1, managed to secure and stamp his ticket to getting into Q2. Now goes fourth fastest, just behind Tim at Marduk as well with a 1:31.215. Meraki just in behind him as well. Aston Martin looking very strong though. We saw GB crossing the line earlier on. Remember, they've got both their drivers in the top 5 in the championship, which is going to be huge where as far as the team's championship goes, because of course Aston Martin in with a great chance of taking that title, and I'd imagine the only teams that are really in contest with them, I would say, well, more than likely, the problem with the rest of the teams is they don't have both their drivers in the fight, but Aston Martin do, so that's going to be the difference maker. But Ferrari, of course, have been scoring consistent points, though they haven't seen the best from the likes of Rastin Chai or Infratic in recent races. So very much it is Aston Martin holding all the cards. Tom 97 out on an outlap. Like I said before, a driver that has really taken this series by storm, and many would say a champion in waiting once again too. Of course, prior to this, has obviously won races in the WOR championships in the top flight of league racing, and has also tackled AOR, where he would become a champion at their F1 level as well. But now here in this, well, in this Creator Series Championship, where of course he should flourish, and looking to break out to that bottom 5, but first and foremost needs to excel higher than that 1:32.005 that he set before, because we're seeing times now that are a good 2/10 clear than that, Hayden, and that, you know, if he can't achieve any better than what he's already registered, then he's got a big problem on his hands. But for someone like Tom 97, I wouldn't consider that a problem.
Yeah, Tom 97's always got the capabilities. I think you should never count him out in any qualifying session. Here he comes around the final corner to begin his lap. But as we talk about the Constructors' Championship, has that difficulty that he's never really had a teammate to back him up. He's been carrying, his back's been hurting this season from his former RB teammate. But the same with Team at Marduk. Team at Marduk's been doing a lot of carrying this season. Carried Infratic to the Constructors' Championship last time out. Infratic, I think, scored about 10% of the points for Ferrari last season. So sometimes, even if you haven't got a teammate to back yourself up, if you have a very strong #1 driver, you can still do it. But it's always going to be difficult with Aston Martin, with Elray being so consistent. But of course, as well, with GB68 being right up there in the fight. And apart from race wins, you can bet him to score some good podiums in the series. Tom 97, though, the first driver to set a lap in the remaining few minutes of this qualifying session. What can he do? Can he get himself out of that drop zone? Currently in P11. It's not a good lap so far. It's in the 32s. He's going to be looking to gain himself about a second and a quarter to get himself right up to the top now. Onto the Las Vegas Strip, a very easy part of the circuit. It's just time to relax, breathe, compose yourself. Think about the lap so far. Have a look at the delta. Are we up? Are we down? Do we need to push so much going into this final chicane? Now hard onto the brakes. Does he attack the curb? No. He stays far away from it, but really attacks the second part. Nails it. Does not invalidate the lap. And it is nice and tidy from Tom 97. We'll get nice and close to the runoff area through the final corner. Cut it as much as possible to the line, and it's right to the top. It's safety, surely, for the RB driver of Tom 97.
Fantastic lap indeed. Alex Gillen looking to join him as well higher up the order. Very nearly does. Third fastest there for Alex Gillen, a 1:39.65. JD Devilnoob looking to register his first lap of the session here at this very late stage. Risky business here for the RB, but looking to perhaps join his teammates up at the very top. Does manage to break into the top 10, but there is still a sea of cars waiting in the wings in behind. They're all on outlaps and will no doubt have the better track conditions here at this point, because they will be coming in at that very late stage. Infratic now making his way through the first sector here for the final time in Q2. This is a must-nail lap here at this point, because we are now in dire straits. 1 minute and 15 to go before we then venture into Q3 very shortly, and Infratic will want to be the one to stamp his ticket and make his way into Q3. As it stands, no lap registered, and a huge mistake coming into Sector 2.
Yeah, that was a big snap. I wonder whether he will now, dial down the engine and see whether he's got enough time to get a lap in. He didn't invalidate there, took it very nice and tight through that right-hander to gain as much time. Again, just not comfortable with the car. It's snapping all over the place with him. Does he? No, he's still using the battery. You can see a little bit of overtake being used to gain himself time through this right and left. And Infratic loves to leave it till the final minute. And it's just a great way of saving tyres as much as possible. So close to the wall, and it's all done. There is no way he's getting himself into Q2 now. Touching the wall on the right-hand side. Does he save the battery? I mean, he's basically on 25% no matter what. I don't think he's going to have the chance to save the battery. He's going to have to really try and push and hope that he can take a distant slipstream off the Mercedes in front of him, or just go full send now into this final chicane to gain the valuable temps that he can through this corner. It was nice and tidy, maybe not as tidy as Tom 97 did earlier on, but still very good through that final chicane. Maybe the rest of the lap will be good enough to make up for that mistake onto the Las Vegas Strip, down to the line, crosses it. No, only P14, and that'll be the end of Infratic that we see in this qualifying session.
Meraki going fastest. Yeah, he's taken a 1:37.20, so he does surpass Tom 97. That guy Vince will be coming through as well very shortly. Bamford MB has also yet to register a lap time as we run on board with that guy Vince as he now cruises through out of Harman Avenue, round the final corner in towards turn 1 as well. JD Devilnoob retiring in P10, but he's been eliminated because that guy Vince moves up to 7th fastest. Unstopped Rob also coming on through, goes 9th fastest. Zafso on the bubble. GB68 out of qualifying. El Rey Guri comes into the pits. 3rd fastest for him. F1 Scott also, I think, coming through towards the final echelons of his lap. Infratic out of qualifying at this stage, but it's all Meraki up at the top. A 1:37.20. GB68 looking to save himself. He's already registered a 1:31.383. It's certainly not safe. Unstopped Rob put him out. Tim at Marduk barely hanging on in 9th place as well. Can GB ascend and move on through? No! He is out of qualifying. GB68 out of it. Zafso now in these closing stages, looking to try and lofty his way into the top 10. Here comes the Season 1 champion. I think he's done it at this very late stage. Did he do it? Yes, he did. Barely. 9th fastest for Zafso. A real shocker towards the end. Wow. Take a breath. Meraki is your fastest man here in Q2. Top 97 second fastest. El Rey Guri in 3rd. Dark Viper GT 4th. Alex Gillen 5th. Yorpa 6th. That guy Vince 7th. Bamford MB in 8th. He also brought it home late. Zafso 9th. Tim at Marduk barely on the bubble in 10th. Unstopped Rob out. GB out as well. JD Devilnoob, F1 Scott, and Infratic. Some major shockers there, Hayden. GB68 probably one of the biggest ones. Unstopped Rob, I would say, also quite a shock. But also Infratic. That is a prime example of why you should always have a banker lap.
Should always have a banker lap, but sometimes, I think with Unstopped Rob, some of their banker laps weren't exactly the greatest. You need a good banker lap in there. GB68, huge shock, of course, had the potential to win last time he went to Las Vegas, and he's out in Q2. Unstopped Rob, yeah, another very, very quick driver. Infratic, I wouldn't say is a huge shock. He is one of those drivers. He's very much a yo-yo in the Creator Series. Sometimes he will pull out an absolute blistering lap and put himself into the top 5, and you'll be like, wow, incredible. This is great stuff from Fabio. Maybe he can keep it up. And then the next race, he's out of Q1. So I think, sadly, he had the heights last time out in qualifying, knocked out his teammate in Australia to get into Q3, but this time it's Fabio of old. It's the usual Fabio that we see and he is unfortunately out in Q2. And it's just those little mistakes, and there was quite a few of them around the lap. It was that mistake into turn 3. It was the mistake onto that Las Vegas strip, just clipping that rear right tyre up against the barrier, and it just sucked him into the right. And then once that happens, your car's scraping along the barrier, and every second that it's scraping along the barrier, it's just scrubbing off more and more time. And especially going on to one of the most important straights on the circuit, it's a disaster there for Enfratic. So sadly, we'll not be progressing into the next one, but we've got a shootout on our hands, some incredible drivers. And I want to say a big shout out to a driver that I did not think would get this far. Bamford is into Q3. What an exceptional lap he's put in to get himself into the top 10 shootout. And I think he can be very, very proud no matter where he finishes in this Q3 session.
Flying under the radar and moving into Q3 in a very, very nice fashion as well. Came very late in the day, managed to creep his way in though, and you got to give credit where credit's due to those that did make it through at the very late stage. It was a big lap from Zafso as well to get through to Q3. Needed to obviously nail that final sector in order to get those extra tenths, extra hundredths under his belt. Managed to go 9th fastest. It was by no means a secured exercise by Zafso. It could have really ended on a flat note for him, but he's back here now. 10 minutes and 10 here in Q3 to go, and very shortly we'll be seeing the first laps come through. Tiamat Marduk also out as well in a lap. Alex Gillen will be out as well. Dat Guy Vince. We've got a sea of other cars though that have not chosen to go out too early. So whether there's something in that, I'm not quite sure. Just wearing the clock down. They don't want to necessarily eat into those tyres too much. But Hayden, take us through on Zafso's lap.
Yeah, let's take it through with Zafso here then, currently sitting obviously with no lap but in P4 at the moment. And yeah, let's see what he can do in the Alpine car. I just want to say though, every team has a representative driver in this top 10 shootout. We've got 10 different constructors in Q3, which is incredible to see. But Zafso really riding that corner through turn 3. You want to cut it as much as you can possibly get away with through there. Now keep it tight and let the car drag out to the right-hand side. You can probably cut a little bit more on the inside of the first part of that corner, but nicely through the second part. The car always seems to snap away from you during this section. There's just no grip there at all. So you've got to wrestle the car to keep it pointing in the right direction and gain yourself all that time on traction. Now tight against the wall through the right, and then not as tight through the left, because you can just see there's that little bump there that you're wanting to be avoiding. Ride the curb massively for Zafso. He doesn't care about his floor on this car. He sends it right over the curb to gain as much time going onto the Las Vegas strip. Now, as I said earlier, compose yourself, take a breath, get that heart rate back down, get the DRS back open, slowly move the car to the right-hand side to prepare yourself for this very tricky triple chicane. What does Zafso do? How much curb does he take on the first part? It takes quite a bit, but the car's nice and settled, not invalidated through the second part of the chicane. Now foot to the floor. It's a drag race all the way down to the start-finish line. There's a slight kink through the final corner. Not really too much of an issue for Zafso. Down to the line. He's going to put himself top. It's a 1:31.5. It's not the fastest lap time we've seen so far in qualifying, so I suspect that is on used tyres. Alex Gillen, is he used or is he new? He is a new set of tyres, because that is into the 1:30.8.
Yeah, respectable opening lap from Zafso. Tiamat Marduk, though, also on fresh tyres. With a 1:30.878, only mere hundredths away from where Alex Gillen was. Yorpa about to make his way down through towards the final stages of this lap. Obviously someone you'd expect to be at the very top alike, and a very good point as well by Hoodie Pete. 10 different teams, all in the top 10. That is unbelievable. Haas, McLaren, Alpine, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Williams, Kick Sauber, Red Bull, Ferrari, and RB alike all sit in wait to see whether they could grasp pole here in this very session. Dat Guy Vince now moving his way down the Las Vegas Boulevard. A trip down through towards the final sector and in towards turns 14 and 15 is still to come, as we now ride on board with the Red Bull. As it now licks a little bit of the curb, not as much as Zafso did on his run. Let's see what's to come as he makes his way out of turn 16 and down Harmon Avenue with a trip around this next left-hander through towards the start-finish line. Dat Guy Vince looking to notch off Alex Gillen's 1:38.42, only manages a 1:31.813, so no doubt on used tyres. Yorpa coming up next though, Hayden, and we know he's quick.
Yeah, he certainly is quick. He's been setting the timing screens alight so far today. Rounds the final corner. What can he do? Up to the top. Yes, it is. It's a 30.5. One of the fastest laps we have seen so far today. Incredible stuff. Can anyone beat Yorpa today? Well, someone who did in Q2 was this driver right here. It's Meraki. It's round the final turn. It's very tight to the line. That's on a used set of tyres. It's a 31.3, but a strong lap on a used set of tyres as well. The fastest lap we have seen on a used set. Zapso into the box. Anybody else who is currently on hot laps at the moment, I believe they're all making their way back to the pit lane to try and see. But Bamford, maybe he's got a lap up his sleeve, and he does. He's going to come around the final corner to complete his lap down to the line. It's P4, and if that's on a used set of tyres, then that is really good from Bamford. Elray Guri, our championship leader. Formidable form there from the Aston Martin driver. Up to P2, very, very strong. Dark Viper, the dark horse in this race. What can he do? Rounds the final turn, and he is starting a lap. So, George, take us through it.
Dark Viper, of course, someone who has already gone near enough faster. We saw it in prior sessions. We know his pace already here at Vegas, and he's looking dialed in now, heading through down Koval Lane. Out of turn 4, DRS will be open for him. He has got a little bit of traffic out in front. Of course, the Aston Martin of Elray Guri that has already nestled in that second place lap of that 1:36.95 and now heads out. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is a purple first sector here for Dark Viper. So definitely finding the goods around this track, coming through the S's now of turn 6, 7, 8. And now curtsying through towards turns 9, and now a trip down Sands Avenue awaits here for the Kick Sauber. 6th gear becomes 7th. It'll soon become 8th. Kicking into gear in the Kick Sauber comes Dark Viper as he looks to peruse through turns 10, 11, as well as turn 12 through the chicane. Looked quite untidy, but good news for him is that Elray's managed to pull just to the outside to allow him through. He's gone purple again in Sector 2. This is looking absolutely succulent here for Dark Viper GT. If he can pull something out of the bag in the remaining corners, this definitely could look like a phenomenal lap. A 1:35.27 to beat. That belongs to Yorpa in the Scuderia Ferrari. Here is GB corner now, makes his way through it, flies through brilliantly, and Dark Viper looking really dialed in here. There could be a surprise package awaiting him coming up to the start-finish line. Could it be green for the Mean Green Machine? Not quite. I think a slight error. 5th place for Dark Viper GT, a 1:39.24. Respectable. That might be on used tyres, though.
Yeah, 4 tenths off the leader Yorpa. Very, very strong lap, but I think there was a few little untidiness mixed in there as well. Was unfortunate. Was probably hoping that Elray Guri would be a little bit further ahead to pick up a slipstream off him instead of getting straight out of the way. And of course, as well for I believe it was the Mercedes of Bamford. Who was a little bit up the road. Now he needs to get a move on. He needs to get back into the pit lane if he wants to go for another lap, and he's cutting the corners there to get back as soon as possible. Him and Tom 97, the two drivers out on track at the moment. Tom's at 97 has invalidated, so I'm sure he's also trying to rush his way back into the pit lane to get a lap on board. He's got a full battery, and yes, he's back into pit lane. 3 minutes left on the clock. Plenty of time for them to get a new set of tyres on and get themselves back underway. But yeah, very close up at the top. Yorpa, Elray Guri. There are two drivers that I think that we're going to be seeing scraping for pole position. No Nogueira this weekend, and who is another driver who's been very strong in qualifying this season. But who knows? Maybe a surprise package might absolutely nail their lap, and that's what we love about qualifying. That, you know, sometimes it's just really all about getting the perfect lap, and sometimes you can just pull it out of the bag and pull a lap that's even better than the personal best that you've done in time trial, and maybe, just maybe, we'll see that from somebody today.
We could do. I mean, it's very hard to attain perfection where it comes to a lap around Vegas, but those that do tend to get written in the annals of history, and hence why GB, I suppose, is looking for redemption here at this very circuit, but unfortunately did not make it through to Q3. Dark Viper GT coming back into the pits after setting that P5 time, and now the wait will begin. No, Zafso not waiting around at all, actually heads straight out, and he's not alone because that guy Vince heading out of the pits and back out onto the track. 2 minutes and 18. That's a little early, do you think, Hayden?
Yeah, but this has kind of been the what we've seen so far in qualifying, because a lot of the laps were set very early. If you look at Fratic, you know, he was at this stage of the lap that guy Vince is at currently now, with about 1:15 still remaining on the clock. So a lot of these drivers potentially just wanting to avoid traffic maybe, or hoping that they can catch another driver on their outlap and pick a little bit of slipstream. But of course, for Zafso, he's one of the first at the moment. He's actually let Alex Gillen through out on track. We're currently watching on board with that guy Vince, but Alex Gillen is the leader. He'll be the first driver who will set a lap time. And I don't know whether Zafso's done that purposely to try and get a bit of space or maybe try and get a bit of slipstream from Alex Gillen, but he's let Alex Gillen go. And Gillen is really, really pushing on this outlap at the moment to find that space, get that gap between him and Zafso to make sure that Zafso does not get that advantage from picking up the slipstream. So Alex Gillen, he's going to be our first driver to set that lap time. All these drivers will be using that brand new set of soft tyres that everybody gets given if they make it into Q3. You're only allowed them in the Q3 session, and you have to give them back after, so there's not an advantage in the race as well. But Alex Gillen will go through the final corner, will wind up and get ready for this lap. Currently sitting third in the standings. Can he put himself to the top? Time will tell. Let's find out. Round the final corner to start that lap. Foot to the floor and down to the first turn. Get the car over to the right-hand side. Use that flat curb to really open up the corner. Let the car drag out wide to get on the throttle as early as possible. Now keep it flat in fifth gear, round turn 2. DRS wide open and get the car over to the left-hand side to prepare yourself for turn 3. Braking at about the 100-meter marker. Really ride the inside curb. Cut it as much as you can possibly get away with. Now keep it tight to the left-hand side. Pick out your braking point and get the car straight all the way until the corner. As you can see, Gillen really riding the first part of the corner and as well the second part that we didn't see Zafso do. Avoids the third part of that chicane to really open up this turn because it's very fast and flat through these winding right and left section. Now it's all going to be about the braking into the Las Vegas Strip because you need to open up this corner and perfect it. Ride the curb nicely, but get a great purchase off the corner as well. It's a drag race all the way down this Las Vegas Strip. You want to keep it tight to the left-hand side against the wall. Obviously, be careful not to scrape against the barrier because every little bit of scraping is going to lose you time. DRS wide open, get the car back over to the right-hand side and prepare yourself for the braking zones. Look out for the brake marker boards on the right-hand side. They're hard to see, but pick out the 100-meter board. Hard on the brakes, really cut the second chicane. Foot to the floor now, down to the line. Is the lap looking good from Alex Gillen? Time will tell. Will he be able to put himself up at the top, George?
Well, big question. Let's see if he can. Alex Gillen coming through the final corner. Took pole back at Spa. Can't do it here. Second fastest is all he can get. Zafso comes through the final bend as well in the Alpine. Can he go higher? Fourth fastest for him. Tiermet Marduk to the top with a 1:34.90. Setting the benchmark. And he's clear of Yorpa, who still sits in second place now. But he might answer back here. No, he can't. He's invalidated his fastest run. So no improvement on hand here for the Scuderia Ferrari. Tom 97 not improving. He's coming into the pits. Disaster for the RB. But Meraki, who can very much cause a late stir, comes towards the line. No! Fourth fastest. Bamford MB. The surprise package remains in 9th place. And now all that's left is our championship leader, El Rey Giri, the Spanish god. Can he ascend? No, he can't. Front row for El Rey Giri, but it's not enough for pole. It goes the way of Benjamin Daly. The reigning F1 Creator Series champion is on pole position for the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
Incredible lap from Tiermet Marduk. The top 4 separated by less than a tenth of a second. 76 thousandths of a second separates Alex Gillen in 4th to Tiermet Marduk in 1st place. But there's also, importantly for Benjamin Daly, 2 cars in the middle of that as well. That's El Rey Giri and Yorpa. It's Tiermet Marduk on pole. No extra points for that, but he did take the extra point for the Intermediate Championship earlier on in Q1. El Rey Giri will line up second. But remember, El Rey Giri will inherit pole position because Tiermet Marduk has a 5-place grid penalty. So El Rey Giri will line up on the front with Yorpa in 2nd. Alex Gillen will go to 3rd and Meraki will move up into 4th position. Then it'll be Tiermet Marduk who starts in 5th, Zafso 6th, Dark Viper is in 7th, Tom 97th in 8th with Bamford in 9th, and then that guy Vince rounds out the top 10. What a qualifying that was, George. That was incredible stuff.
Well, if you look at the top 4, they were just merely separated from P1 to P4, 77,000.
Yeah. Imagine if somebody had already said that, George. Imagine.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
One of these days you're going to listen to me.
Well, no, because you didn't say 77,000, did you?
I did say 76,000, George. I did. Sorry, chat.
No,
We're
I
just
mean,
on a domestic. This is what happens all the time we commentate together.
You get to see behind the scenes here at the Creator Series. No. Honestly, no. It's just to hammer home the fact that it is extraordinary because honestly, you tend to associate these time gaps to the professional drivers. So
Yeah.
you don't often see that even in a creator sense, and it has to be said that takes away nothing. No shine can be taken off a result like that. But I mean, TMM Marduk to take that result is huge, especially after what happened at his home race at Australia. Both he and GB coming together. He's got no fears of having to run into GB at the start of this race because obviously GB out in Q2. But phenomenal performance. El Rey Guri, though, still there and about. He's on the front row, shares the front row with TMM Marduk. Hayden, if he gets a good start. Yeah, I mean,
Ben's got a penalty, remember?
Of
Which
course,
I just said as well.
Oh, sorry, I was immersed.
He's got a 5-place grid penalty. So El Rey's on pole. You're per second.
I was immersed in the stats over here, but I mean, what this does for El Rey is obviously that it puts him in the front seat to potentially increase that points gap again come the end of this race. So if we look at the championship again, it's another asterisk in his column, and it suggests that he could yet become a champion for the first time. What an arc here for El Rey.
Yeah, the villain of the series in from like season 4 onwards, and to now be fighting for this championship and the consistency, and everybody's really been saying it so far this season that the tidiness of his racecraft and the ability to leave a lot more space than before, but also still be a fierce competitor. It's not just a case of, okay, cool, I'm just going to open the door and just let you come through. No, great racing, great battles, but now just puts his car in a position that really compromises the other driver, but without having that collision involved. And yeah, maybe it's a bit more intelligence from other drivers with racing as well. They know he's going to be aggressive, so maybe don't stick your nose in a corner like we saw Alex Gillen do back in Monaco at the start of the season. Made that mistake because he tried to go for a risky, desperate dive. And with El Rey Guri that, yes, okay, he's definitely tidied up his racecraft, but you can't just send it up the inside and hope for the best and hope that he's going to leave you space because he's still a very strong competitor. But yeah, we'll be lining up this race in first position, but it's Vegas. There's going to be safety cars. And also we've got the Las Vegas Strip that's going to be incredibly powerful for straight line speed. So it doesn't matter where you start. GB68 could still have a great chance for winning this race. Who knows? At the back of the grid, Punju could come out victorious if all chaos breaks loose. I can't wait for this race. It's going to be a cracker.
Well, it could be another Meraki last gasp victory. I mean, he seems to rip it out of the jaws of nowhere. We saw it back at Australia last time out. It was an absolute thrill ride of a Grand Prix. But El Rey with a great chance of perhaps even nailing down his 3rd race win of the season, which would be incredible. And despite not having any more than 2 race wins, he's still at the top of the championship. But all 5 lights lit here at Vegas. And it's pedal to the metal. And it is go, 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 go. Great start for El Rey Guri, but a brilliant start for Alex Gillen. That's incredible. Takes the lead of the race going through towards turn 1. El Rey having to suck in and watch. In 2nd place, Yorpa. In 3rd, Sapso on the move as well. Side by side between he and Meraki as they now head down the Koval Lane sector. As they now look to burn their way down through towards turn 5. Who's it going to be this time? TMM Marduk late on the brakes. He's going to try and get past Sapso. So he does get his nose through the Papaya McLaren into the top 4, reneging that grid penalty that he sustained at the start of the race. Despite the efforts in qualifying being punished with that penalty, he still rises and now sits in 4th.
TMM Marduk utilising those soft tyres to his advantage to gain those positions. Same with Alex Gillen. Alex Gillen, though, on the mediums. The 2 on the front row, El Rey Guri and Europe are both utilising hard tyres at the start of this race. So hence why they didn't quite get the start that they wanted. And that's how Alex Gillen was able to break away down in towards that first corner. Great overtake from Gillen to move himself into the lead of the race. And for TMM Marduk, who is on the softs as well, Zafso and Tom97 with a great drive at the start. Utilising those tyres to move up the field, as is GB68, who's now inside the top 10.
Well, speaking of Tom 97, great drives. He's had 3 wins already this campaign. Also took a pole position back at round 2 and then followed it up at round 3 alike after the sprint race. As we now watch that guy Vince make his way down the straight as well, coming through the Harmon Avenue, and it'll then be the run through towards the start-finish line. Alex Gillen, no question, fastest lap of the race as we now conclude the first lap and head on to lap 2. GB68 on the attack of Dark Viper GT through turn 1. Oh! There looked like an incident coming through turn 1, and I think someone paid the price. F1 Scott, I think, actually gaining on that guy Vince. I think Vince might have had a bit of a moment after perhaps coming into contact with GB. Certainly looked like a lot of cars came together. Somehow, though, they made their way through. I think, though, Vince might be in trouble here because Infratic is now attacking him for 13th.
Yeah, there's a big cluster down there in 13th, 14th, 12th. Vincent Infratic going wheel to wheel at the moment further down the field, but it looks like Infratic has had to back out of that one as Vince almost drove into the back of his teammate, F1 Scott. And now that's given Infratic another chance to come back on the Ferrari drive. Infratic is on soft tyres, so he does need to try and get a move on very quickly as Jorpa is being overtaken by TM at Marduk. Can he do 2 down into Las Vegas Strip? No, he settles for 1, but now will look to set up the overtake on El Rey Guri to move up into the top 2. Here comes Tiamat Marduk now down the Las Vegas Strip. They're both going to get DRS on Alex Gillen, and El Rey Guri saving the battery up ahead. But what is Tiamat Marduk going to do? He's not in overtake mode now, he is. And he's going to try and find space to the left. No, he goes down the middle between Alex Gillen and El Rey Guri. They're 3 wide. Down in towards the triple chicane. It's TMM Marduk who rises to the top and takes the lead of this race. But here comes Jorpa back again on El Rey Guri and Alex Gillen. What is going on down in towards the final corner? TMM Marduk leads the way. They're 3, they're 4 wide down into the first turn. Jorpa on the inside. Gillen swoops around the outside and will maintain second position. Jorpa slots into third. Tom 97 and El Rey Guri are too busy dishing it out and fighting it out for that fourth position, but it's going to be El Rey Guri who slots into fourth with Tom 97 in fifth.
Well, I tell you what, the aggressive strategy bearing fruit for Tiamat Marduk, but I think I'm going to have to name that move of the race. Down the inside, he parted the sea and made his way through the middle. Dark Viper also breezing past Meraki further down. He kicked Stauber, now ahead of the Williams for 7th place, but Tiamat Marduk getting off to a grandiose start and elevating himself to the top now. 7/10 clear of Alex Gillen, his rival. Years gone by, Jorpa now relegated down to third. El Rey Guri, who started on pole, now down to fourth. Tom 97 trying to work his way through too, but everyone within DRS up to Meraki in P8. GB68 1 second outside of the mark, which is going to be so dangerous for the Aston Martin and will leave him vulnerable for Unstop Rob, as now we see Tom 97 going on the attack. We're going to go 3 wide again, heading down this long straight once more. El Rey Guri. Oh, VSC has just come out onto the track, but a big moment. They went 3 wide briefly. El Rey up into third.
Yeah, it looks like JD Devilnoob must have got caught up with something. He's quite a distance away from the rest of the drivers. I think JD Devilnoob and Matty D have been caught up with each other as we've got a replay. This is of that guy Vince heading down into the first corner on lap 2 here, and this is the incident with GB68. So I think GB68 just had a little look up the inside. It was a bit of a desperate lunge there. It was a little bit too far back as Vince was already fully committed to the corner, and unfortunately all tangled up with each other. And that's a very, very lucky break there for GB68 because he was just about closing into the DRS of the cars in front, and JD Devilnoob indeed into the pits, as is Matty D. So both those drivers having an issue, and JD Devilnoob actually retiring from the race, which is, do you know what I'm actually going to say? Very disappointed with that. It's the start of the race at Las Vegas. Early. There's plenty of safety cars yet to come, so to retire that early on in the race is unfortunately just taking up a spot of another driver who would have wanted that. And I'm very disappointed there with JD Devilnoob because that is disappointing. But we're back underway racing, I believe. Virtual safety car has gone in. DRS is enabled. Let's get this racing back underway.
Why not? Once more, we go green. Tiamat Marduk up at the front, still 5/10 clear. El Rey Guri now trying to break back to within a second. Can't afford to lose tread on Alex Gillen up ahead. Obviously, it's in Tiamat Marduk's interest to try and break the string of drivers in behind. Tom 97 also all over the tail of the Ferrari belonging to Jorpa in 4th place, and has got his own championship to consider because he currently sits in 3rd, especially after Tiamat Marduk managed to nestle 2 points after taking that intermediate pole. As we now watch them head down this next stretch now in towards the Las Vegas Boulevard. He'll open up the door in the RB around the outside of Jorpa in his Ferrari. Tom 97 easy as you like through to P4 now this time. And now, next on his list, El Rey Guri, and he's well within DRS now.
Yeah, Tiamat Marduk just got overtaken by Alex Gillen for the lead of this race, so drops down into 2nd place. Those two just working out the DRS, but Tom 97 getting a move on here, and now having a look on El Rey Guri. He's on the inside, down in towards the first corner. He's got the position at the moment, but El Rey will get this inside line in towards turn 2. Will get the drive off the corner, but remember, is on those hard tyres. Whereas Tom 97 is on softs, but El Rey Guri just utilising the battery to get ahead of Tom 97. And these guys don't want to fight too much because they don't want to allow Team at Marduk and Alex Gillen to break away from that 1 second. DRS is so powerful, and if you can stay within the DRS of the car ahead, you're going to have a great opportunity. The DRS train is going to be important today, but here goes Tom 97 right around the outside. That was an impressive move up against El Rey Guri, but El Rey Guri thinking about the championship. There's no need to be too aggressive just yet. Slot back, take the DRS, focus on the long run. There's 45 laps left to go, and if only another driver thought about that, they would still be in this race.
You're absolutely spot on. Yorper currently sat in 5th, hunting down El Rey Guri once more. This time El Rey, after losing out to Tom 97, might find himself up against it here. Obviously plenty of cars in front though that are still pursuing onwards. Alex Gillen, as we now see some wheel-to-wheel action. Meraki coming to blows with Dark Viper this time. Viper on the outside, Meraki on his inner, but GB68 getting closer in behind too, as now we see Team at Marduk once again swapping for the lead with Alex Gillen. Gillen swapping around the other side of Team at Marduk. Look to perhaps maybe issue a late break coming through to the chicane, which wouldn't have necessarily been sensible at all. Maybe more defensive of Tom 97 in behind as they head through the final stages of this lap. They'll soon begin lap 6 as they do wheel to wheel once more, as GB68 once again finds himself in the midst of a relentless scrap. Unstopped Rob and Meraki going at it as well. Alpine of Zafso in the mix of this too. GB trying to try the long way round, coming out of turn 4 down Koval Lane, and once again they're going to go side by side. This time Zafso has his number, but GB looking to return the favour. They're going to run side by side in towards turn 5. The Aston Martin with the favourable inside line as well. The Tiger line as they break through towards turn 6. GB68, fabulous move, manages to hold on to it, and now Zafso's going to try and contain Unstopped Rob, and that's going to be easier said than done because the Mercedes might yet take this from him too.
Yeah, brilliant battle in the field. Zafso and Unstopped Rob still going wheel to wheel. These soft tyres may be starting to drop off and die, as he's now also been overtaken by Meraki as well. And it's very, very important that they got that all sorted out because they were starting to lose the DRS of Dark Viper. They're back in it, and Dark Viper is in the DRS as Meraki makes a little bit of a mistake there. That's going to allow Zafso to have a look, but I don't think Zafso's pushing too hard for the time being. Someone who is pushing behind them, though, is that guy Vince, who's looking to go for that overtake as well. Yorper up at the front, though, looking to have a move on those guys. There's battles galore. We can't keep up with it at the moment. Alex Gillen and Team at Marduk switching positions once again. Unstopped Rob overtakes GB68, and I believe also Zafso just lost out about 6 positions on that lap. He was P7 going into lap 6. He's now at the moment down in P12. What a disaster for the Alpine driver here.
Yeah, absolutely. He's tailing down the field and was right at the top end here in this classification, but now sees himself down in 12th, and now Bamford might even take a chance. But once again, GB68 in the midst of a fight, and Meraki, who is on the climb as well, alike, is going to try something on GB that GB tried on Zafso not too long ago, only a mere lap ago, in fact. But GB doing enough to hold on, but there is still another straight to take. Once again, we reach Koval Lane. Meraki, though, not trying anything coming in, but someone will try something on him, and that's that guy Vince, the Red Bull, now jumping ahead of the Williams here on lap 7 of 50. I'll tell you what, early stages of the race, and we've probably seen some of the most dramatic moves we've seen throughout the entirety of this championship. I mean, this is Creator Series, and this is what you can expect. Alex Gillen still out in front, though he and Team at Marduk swapping. Now, that might be working for 2 different reasons. Obviously, like we've discussed, we do see a lot of slipstreaming down Las Vegas Boulevard, but, you know, Alex Gillen and Team at Marduk have a chance here to work together to help their cause here, Hayden.
Yep, they certainly have, and Tom 97 will be wanting to get involved in that as well because he's also on the soft tyres. But what is working the best now? Is it the softs? Is it the mediums? Here comes Tom 97. They're kind of 2 by 2 at the moment going down the Las Vegas Strip. They're side by side is Team at Marduk and Alex Gillen. Who's going to come out on top here? It is Team at Marduk. El Rey Guri slots in behind the Haas driver of Alex Gillen. I just want to say, round of applause to everybody. Well, 18 drivers in this field because they've kept so close together. Battles galore. Tom 97 going for it again. Alex Gillen closes the door to Tom 97. He's going to go, okay, cool, you can close the door on me. I'm now going to try around the outside through turn 1. And this is what you want to do. You want to try and keep it around the outside because it's going to give you the inside line through turn 2, which is the optimal line around this circuit. And it looks like Tom 97 is going to get the purchase of that corner. Now he's got the inside line going into the next corner. It looks like Team at Marduk actually gifting the slipstream to Tom97 to try and help him overtake Alex Gillen. Whether that's because he wants Tom97 in second or just trying to ruffle some feathers with his rival Alex Gillen, just trying to get inside his head to help out Tom97 in that battle. He's going to dive it right around the outside. They're going to keep will to will through the next part of the corner. Great racing amongst these two. And this is what I'm saying. The fact that we're on lap 8, we haven't had a full safety car yet. I was expecting at least 2 safety cars by this part. A couple of drivers spun round. Lots of front wings gone everywhere. But the battles have been insane. They've been clean. They've been excellent. And I just want to say a huge take a bow, everybody, or 18 drivers in this field, because you've been phenomenal.
Yeah, no, they've been terrific, and we've had plenty to watch. And once again, we could see something else, because Tom97 is now once again closing on the back of Alex Gillen. No doubt we could yet see a swap. T-Met Marduk has been given room to breathe to a certain degree, because of course it was Alex Gillen who was applying all the pressure for the race lead, and now Tom97 is going to apply the pressure on both of them here. A potential double overtake on offer here as we run 3 wide down through towards GB chicane, and this time it's going to be Tom97 with his nose in front, and El Rey Gilring. Oh, yes, he has. He's dropping down through the field, 3 wide. Obviously did not go into 1. Alex Gillen has now been relegated to 14th place. He's broken his front wing. He's into the pits. He's completely lost his right-hand side. I thought that they were going 3 wide. It just does not work into that corner. You can barely go 2 wide into there. And Alex Gillen has to come into the pit lane. Oh, and a big crash behind there. T-Met Marduk, the reigning champion, is round as well. And he has had a big issue. We've got a full-blown safety car. That is no surprise. That was huge contact. It was T-Met Marduk and I believe El Rey Guri coming together. And unfortunately for those two, I think it's big damage. It's certainly damage for T-Met Marduk. I think it could be damage as well for El Rey Guri. I'm just trying to get a shot of the wings. Yep, El Rey Guri missing completely on his right side of his front wing. T-Met Marduk as well has completely lost his front nose. And for Tom97, he's going to be very, very happy. As safety cars come out, a good opportunity to box for a new set of tyres. And I think for the likes of T-Met Marduk, who's definitely got away with that. And now for Alex Gillen as well, he's going to be thankful that that safety car came out too. Yeah, I mean, this has given a reprieve to all those that started on the soft tyres, because this, you know, at the end of the day, they're going to need to start thinking ahead, and there's going to be some strategy adjustments here, no less. I mean, that is truly disappointing. And you were saying, Hayden, we're glad we haven't seen a safety car yet. You've cursed this race. Can you believe this?
Thank God for that, because we needed that excitement. We need a safety car. That's what Las Vegas is all about. I want to see these drivers having fun, a few incidents here and there, laughing with each other, and just enjoying the event. And I think Las Vegas brings that to everybody, because it's always chaotic. There's always going to be a safety car. But you know what they say about safety cars? Safety cars breed safety cars. We've had 2 if you count the virtual safety cars so far. You get a total of 6 unless it's raining, then you get 7. So 4 definitely remaining in this race. Will we use up all of them by the time we get to lap 25 like we have done in the past? Only time will tell. Coming into the pit lane then, we've got Tom97. We've got pretty much everybody but Yorpa. Of course, El Rey Guri on those hard tyres, but coming off them because of having that front wing damage. So Yorpa's really the only driver that's been absolutely shafted here. But for T-Met Marduk, he's going to get held with other drivers going to pits. Punju's going to get held behind T-Met Marduk there, but Tom97 coming out in 2nd position. That guy Vince rises up to 3rd, and look at that, in 4th place, GB68. Could we finally have the win for the Aston Martin driver? Let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. We don't want to curse it. I've already cursed one thing today. Let's not curse another.
Well, I can't help but feel that we might have cursed his result at Australia last week anyway. But, I mean, GB, I must say, I think he'll be glad of this safety car, because he was outside of DRS. He was leading that front group prior to the safety car, and therefore wasn't actually able to close with the rest of the soft runners up at the front. But now this has given him a bit of a lifeline to a degree, and has actually thrown him right into the mix of potentially you know, being in contention for the race win. But he's got several challenges that lie in wait, Yorpa being one of them. Tom97, the strategies now have taken a vast change. Like you said, Yorpa is going to be up against it, because you've got a sea of drivers on better tyres now, waiting to challenge up at the front end. One driver who has benefited off the back of this too is Infratic, who is now up into 8th. Maraki in 7th still as well. Safso managing to crawl back up into the top 10 after losing all those places at the very start of the race. Hoodie Pete up to 12th as well. Dark Viper also now dropping down to 14th as well. Remember, we saw him tussling it out earlier on in the midfield. Let's take a look at a replay here. Now, this is, as we look at it on screen, the 3 wide moments. Now, we're riding side by side. Oh, that was a big squeeze. big squeeze indeed, and we'll wait and see where Tiemet Marduk got it wrong as well, because eventually he would sustain damage. Coming through the final corner before then reaching the start-finish line. The dual side-by-side here with the Ferrari, heading down in towards turn 1. The rear end stepping out so slightly, and there's another car coming through on the inside as well. 2, in fact. Oh, wow. Okay, well, I wouldn't be surprised if there is damage to the front nose cone of that Aston Martin of El Reguiri as well then.
Yeah, he did sustain front wing damage, hence why he's come into the box, and the only one who hasn't was Yorpa. Yeah, I think Tiemet Marduk knew that El Reguiri was there, was giving El Reguiri enough space, but I don't think he quite saw the second proximity arrow, and I think that was a second driver just sticking their nose in slightly on the inside of El Reguiri, just being slightly optimistic, and unfortunately the free wide squeeze didn't work. And then with the first one, we spoke about it earlier in qualifying, that inside curb on the first part of the chicane, you really can't ride over it because it's just going to chuck the car out wide. It's going to eat you up, and it's just going to spit you out wherever it wants to throw you. And that's unfortunately what happened to Tom 97. 2 wide rarely works through there. 3 wide definitely doesn't. And I think for Alex Gillen, the smarter thing, and hindsight it's a beautiful thing, but hindsight would have told him, you know, maybe I should have just backed out there, allowed those 2 to be first and second, and then maybe switched them back onto the start-finish straight. But unfortunately for them, you know, they've got that lifeline, but they are much further down the field from where they would have wanted to be. And in fact, actually, Alex Gillen's come out ahead of Tiemet Marduk and El Reguiri, so it's actually gained from it. But for all these drivers, I wonder what they're going to be doing for strategy now. They've all gone to the hard tyres, potentially can take the hard tyres all the way to the end of the race. There's actually rumours going on in Create Series with a few little ideas being thrown about that maybe, you know, removing the hard tyre as a usable tyre for the weekend to stop drivers basically saying, okay, cool, there's a safety car early on, I'm going to take the hards now to the end of the race, and allow us to mix up the strategies with a lot more soft tyres being used and medium tyres. So maybe that will come to fruition for Season 8. But at the moment, all the cars weaving down the start-finish straight. A lot of the gainers in this field. Emphatic moving up into P8. F1 Scott. Bamford up into the top 10. Zafso still looking comfortable in P6 as we're riding on board with Tiemet Marduk. And the safety car is coming in this lap, so I'll hand back to you, George, as they come through the final couple of corners now.
Yeah, turn 1 always looks inviting, regardless for potential 3 wides. We've seen it a few times, but obviously it's very easy to get it wrong. The door closes up fairly quickly too, so obviously you need to be aware of that. Unfortunately, like you so rightly said, I mean, I don't think Tiemet Marduk even considered the fact that there was going to be another car coming up the inside. But nevertheless, he's got to put it at the back of his mind as the cars now stretch down through towards the final corner. Yorpa takes them early down through towards turn 1 and is pedal to the metal for the second time in this race now. And that guy Vince getting a decent jump. GB68 tried his luck up the inside. He's going to try again coming through turn 1 and switch round. Coming through towards turn 2, can't quite find an angle, but he might yet get a run down the Koval lane straight. Yorpa, though, managing to career away, very nearly breaking top 97 by a second here. We've got cars fanning out further back as well. Unstop Rob coming into blows as well. Meraki coming into the mix. Zafso as well in the midpoint of the top 10. And Alex Gillen, who has somehow, some way, managed to move his way up into 11th place, is now on the tail of Bamford and has managed to surpass Bamford. But Bamford coming straight back, but Gillen with the Tiger line is able to retain 10th place.
Incredible restart from Yorpa on older hard tyres, has been able to break away over a 1 second gap on Tom 97. Tom 97 doesn't have DRS, so he's going to be vulnerable now to that guy Vince. He needs to utilize the second lap because DRS will be activated as they cross the line for the second lap here, as we're watching GB68 make a move on that guy Vince, move up into 3rd position as Tom 97 just about now within the DRS range of Yorpa. Can he stay there though? Because if he doesn't, that's going to allow Yorpa to run away with this. But importantly, everybody behind Yorpa has made a pit stop. I made an all noise earlier on at the start of the safety car restart. Matty D somehow drove into the back of somebody on the safety car restart and has broken his front wing once again in this race. So he got a lifeline in this race with the safety car coming out and has thrown that lifeline away by getting damage to the front wing once again. But let's focus on the battle at the front. GB68 up into 3rd place will be now looking to try to go on the attack of Tom 97. That guy Vince was so close to GB68 he could smell what he had for dinner last night.
Yeah, well, Gillen's had a phenomenal restart too, and he's just moved himself up into 9th place ahead of F1 Scott. So starting to make moves and on the recovery mission of his life. If you remember where he was coming into the pits to obviously recover after the damage he would have sustained. He is now up into the top 10 after breaking past F1 Scott's Red Bull. Further back, Elray Guri also trying to peel himself through the field. Tiamat Marduk looking to do the same and is also on the tail of Bamford, but the safety car icon, don't listen to that, folks. We're not under full course yellow conditions at the moment. Just obviously some visual glitches we got out there on track. Yorpa, though, has just seen his second gap that he had before ripped away from him. Tom 97 has now got himself back to within proximity of DRS, and GB68 hunting them both down as well. So this race is still wide open here on lap 13 of 50 as they now cruise down this long straight at Las Vegas Boulevard. Coming through turn 13 now, very shortly as we ride on board with the F2 champion, Unstopped Rob, who now sits in 5th place and chasing down that guy Vince. Didn't have the easiest of runs in qualifying, one of the surprise departures out of Q2, but coming back into this fray and now looking to try and launch a charge as a mistake made by GB68 at the corner where he lost the win not too long ago, and it's cost him again because that guy Vince has ripped 3rd place away from his fingers and Meraki moves past Safso.
GB, how many times do we have to tell you? Brake for the corner down into after the Las Vegas strip. Once again, just broke a little bit too late. Got caught out by the car in front, Tom 97. Had to correct the wheel to make sure he didn't run into the back of the RB car, and unfortunately sent him wide. Opened the door to that guy Vince. He was like, thank you very much, I will take this podium position, and up into 3rd he goes. Meanwhile, Punju in 16th position, now riding on board with Zafso, defending from Infratic, but Infratic has a little look up the inside. Zafso not closing that door, leaving it open, but actually inviting the opportunity for Infratic to go for it, and he makes the mistake that opens the door for Alex Gillen to move up into P8 now, who's now right on the back of Zafso here as another driver dropping down the field. Bamford gets overtaken by Elray Guri, and Tiamat Marduk overtakes F1 Scott. So those three trying to recover their races, overtake drivers that they probably shouldn't be behind, and move further up onto the field. But now we get back in towards this Las Vegas strip. This is such an important last corner here to maximize this long straight. You get it wrong, you're going to be vulnerable, you're going to be overtaken by a lot of cars. You get it right though, and there is a reward because there's a potential for lots and lots of overtakes to come your way. GB68 now going on the attack of that guy Vince, has battery in hand. That guy Vince flashing, not using the battery at the moment, either saving or has run out. And it's going to be an easy overtake for GB68, but can he get it slowed down this time, GB? Yes, he can. He hasn't hit the wall this time. We're all good. GB68 has survived another lap going into GB corner.
Hold your breath as you make your way through turns 14 and 15, everybody, because I tell you what, whenever we see GB head through that section, blimey, we could be in for a bit of an L moment. But GB
as well. Look what happens when he hits the brakes.
Actually registered the fastest lap of the race. Incredible. As we run on board with Tiamat Marduk, once again making moves. Elray Guri's managed to break into the top 10 with Alex Gillen. So they've surpassed Infratic. They're moving through the field. Tiamat Marduk looking to join them as they now head down the long Kovar Lane straight once more, hunting after Infratic 2, and also trying to recover the race that all went awry after the 3 wide escapade that happened through turn 1 earlier on. One McLaren, though, that is going to lose out is Punju. He's under pressure. Here comes Hoodie Pete round the outside. Oh, goodness me. And I think Punju got it ever so slightly wrong, as did Hoodie Pete. Missed his braking point altogether, and they make contact, nose to tail, coming out of the chicane, coming out of turn 9.
One of the most difficult corners on this circuit because you're completely blind going round there. You're looking out for small brake marker boards on the left-hand side. They're kind of hidden by the barriers. Oh, there's contact there further back, and there was a Williams that was Yours Sincerely straight into the side pod of Dark Viper, and round goes Yours Sincerely. Hasn't completely dropped off, is still ahead of B-Roy, and Matty D actually doing well with that front wing damage to stay in, but you're going to be running low wings around this circuit. A little bit of front wing damage isn't going to affect you massively in this race as Alex Gillen moves up into 7th place. Unstopped Robert watching at the moment, still at the moment ahead, and Zafso unfortunately has been removed from the session. His car's going to be slightly slower than usual. He's going to have to try and hold on to as many positions, but that's opened up a great opportunity for Elray Guri and Infratic to take those 3 positions, and I'm sure Tiamat Marduk is going to be trying to get past him as soon as possible as well, and he does, and moves up into the top 10.
Yeah, fabulous effort from Unstopped Rob to set the fastest lap as well of the race, ripping it away from GB68. It just hasn't gone right for Zafso. Of course, he fell down the field earlier on, and now he's falling down again, obviously due to the fact that his car is no longer under his control. But as we will now watch Infratic, sat in 12th, F1 Scott, is now in trouble because here comes the Portuguese. in Fratic now. Fabio looking to go around the outside. We'll look for the switchback heading through the chicane. You're not going to find it there. But heading through the next left-hander coming out of turn 9 might yet find a window of opportunity. There's a little bit of contact with the wall for F1 Scott. It hasn't actually perturbed his run, but Zafso's run might be perturbed with the lack of DRS that he's no longer going to get on Tiamat Marduk. So whilst this is obviously not ideal for Zafso, this is a nightmare for those behind him, because once they get past him, they've then got to burn the battery to then catch up with Tiamat Marduk in 9th place onwards.
Yeah, they've got to start to strategically work together in this race, as someone who's not going to work together is Unstopped Rob. But in fact, actually, that guy Vince having the look on GB68 backs out of it. Unstopped Rob will have a look around the outside. Ferrari got a little bit squirmish, a little bit sideways, and that's a fantastic move from Unstopped Rob to get past that guy Vince and move up into 4th position. I think Yorpa had a slight look on Tom 97, got it a little bit wrong, and is now right tucked up behind the RB car. Be looking to go for an overtake as Infratic looks for it on F1 Scott. Can't quite do it, neither can Yorpa. He settles behind Tom 97. Maybe that's the smart thing for the time being from Yorpa. Stay with Tom 97. He's got fresher, better tyres at this stage of the race. If you can stick right up behind him in 2nd place, you can then box later on when go to medium tyres. Maybe the others will go to medium tyres as well, and they can have that fight for the lead. But right now, needs to make sure he doesn't get swallowed up, doesn't open the door for GB68. So going deep there in the background was Unstopped Rob, and he's lost a handful of positions, dropping from what was an amazing overtake on that guy Vincent to 4th, now down into P9.
Yeah, well, he actually held the fastest lap of the race for a brief time, and now that's all going to come to an end. It's not going to mean anything. Obviously, being buried into the barrier, is now down into 9th place this time around, and just on the cusp of losing out on the top 10. F1 Scott is going to be in with a great chance of closing up that DRS, and especially if there's any damage to Unstopped Rob's car as well. But as we now watch Tiamat Marduk hunting down after long-time rival Alex Gillen. Once again, this time they're fighting over P7, but no doubt perhaps working together this time, because Helray Guri, Alex Gillen and Tiamat Marduk essentially all have the same fight on their hands. But Tiamat Marduk now on the attack of Alex Gillen. Might yet even have a chance of getting Elray, because Elray's battery is actually flashing. But Tiamat Marduk reneges on this occasion, thinking better of it. The last time they ventured through through this very chicane together, it ended in tears for all three of them, as we then watch them come through down towards the final corner. GB68 this time up into 2nd, chasing down Yorpa for a potential race lead. Tom 97 looking to perhaps take 2nd place back as they head through turn 1. The RB having a look down the inside. No, can't quite. GB shutting the door very efficiently indeed. The RB having to wait in the wings. GB looking like the aggressor and will get the run on Yorpa with the power of DRS as they head down Koval Lane and down towards turn 5. Will he find enough before reaching the braking zone? No, not quite. Yorpa doing enough. Must say, I'm really enjoying this spirited drive from Yorpa here, Hayden. He's aggressive in all the right places, but can defend brilliantly, and his outright pace is astonishing.
Pace is incredible. We've seen it so far in qualifying, and we're seeing it again in the race now. But GB68 looking all over the back of him. What a drive! Oh, just as that commentator's cursor just keeps on creeping out today. Yorpa just getting a little bit squirmish on the traction there, and GB68 unable to capitalize at the moment. But of course, we're now getting onto the most important straight of the circuit, the Las Vegas Strip. But GB68 doesn't want to get that overtake done too early, because if he does, he'll give the DRS to Yorpa, who can just overtake him straight back. Straight away. Infratic now the leader of Train B, but is 2.8 seconds behind the rest of them, as GB68 now going for that overtake on Yorpa. DRS wide open now, and here comes Tom 97. Will he take it away? How long will GB68 hold the lead of this race? He's going to hold it for a little bit longer as Tom 97 slots in behind him for P2.
We all remember what happened the last time he led around this track, and it ended in tears. But this time it could all change. But Tom 97 could be there to rip it out beneath him right now, especially as we now rejoin the battle up at the head of the order, this time on lap 19 of 50. Helray Guri this time nestling in the fastest lap of the race and has found himself up into 5th. Aston Martin looking so strong right now with GB at the head of the field. Helray Guri, after making the stop that he did, obviously having to repair the damage and at the same time change the tyres, he now sees himself 2.5 tenths of a second behind that guy Vincent, hunting down Yorpa alike. So big points, big prizes on the line for Aston Martin. Tiamat Marduk also in the mix of this. Meraki joining the fight, Alex Gillen as well. A lot of the big players here in the Creator Series now looking to tussle for the major points paying positions here in this race at Las Vegas. Ever so technical, a little step out of the rear there on the Aston Martin belonging to GB68 as they now beckon their way down through towards Sands Avenue in turn 10 and 11. In the midst, though, you can see there Tom 97 looking for a different line against GB68. Tiamat Marduk as we ride on board, trying to stay plugged into the back of El Rey Guri, but getting a really bad run coming down in towards the Las Vegas Boulevard, and that's hampered him a little bit, Hayden.
Yeah, just narrowly avoided the barrier on the exit that was awaiting him when riding that inside curb. So got away with that, got lucky with that, and will be thankful for it. Tom 97 takes the lead of this race away from GB68. Yorpa passes as well, and that guy Vince fancies a chance down in towards the triple chicane on the inside of GB68. GB68 holds it around the outside, and has to give up that position. No, he doesn't. He still holds it there and slots back into third position. Yorpa now going to the inside on Tom 97. Is that just to get the clean air? No, it's to take the position and to move up into the lead of the race. And now GB68, he also fancies a chance of second position in this race. No, settles for third position. El Rey Guri has the best tyres of anybody in this field at the moment. Is on mediums, whereas everybody else is on the hards. He's going to make them work because he's going on the inside now of that guy Vince. Uses the battery on the exit of turn 2 and moves up into fourth position. Of course, remember, El Rey Guri started on the hards, could not go to a set of hard tyres during that safety car and breaking his front wing. So he had to go to mediums. Now, what does the strategy await for El Rey Guri for the rest of the race? Only time will tell us. Alex Gillen has a move in the background there on Meraki to slot into 7th position. They're still going wheel to wheel as a smiley face on the Severe in Vegas is just watching and enjoying all the battles that we're getting today in Las Vegas. Alex Gillen moving up into 7th position, but Meraki right up behind him. I think he's going to have to give up to that position for the time being, because if they fight too hard, it's going to lose them DRS, which they are at the moment not worrying too much about because it's 4 tenths the gap. So they're still very much safe at the moment. Everybody from first down to 9th in this DRS train as Yorpa and Tom 97 trading positions once again. Tom 97 on the outside of the corner as GB68 just watching this battle unfold, hoping that those two can come together and he can gain a position from both of them. But they don't. Oh, Yorpa with a big slide in towards the triple chicane, holds it nicely, slots into second place, and they are as you were going on towards lap 21.
Not the first time we've seen that rear step out on that Ferrari. He did it just before taking the lead. Tiamat Marduk up the inside, coming through the final corner and manages to unseat that guy Vince for 5th place, but that guy Vince coming straight back at him. Tiamat Marduk will have the inside. The Tiger Line does hold on to 5th place for the Aussie, and now that guy Vince has got to remain in P6 and live to fight another day. But Yorpa now with a great chance of just staying plugged into the back of the RB of Tom 97. He can await his opportunity to take the lead back away. GB68 also waiting in the wings. Once again, Aston Martin still very much strong in terms of their on-track positions. Big points going their way, and remember, this will help their quest for the Creator Series Teams Championship alike as they now cruise through the middle sector, heading down through out of turn 9 and take a trip down Sands Avenue once again for turn 10. Once again, the gaps are minimal, though emphatic. 2.7 now away from Meraki in 9th place. We saw that fantastic battle between Alex Gillen and Meraki not too long ago, and I'm sure that's going to take pride of place on Alex Gillen's Creator Series review stream that no doubt he'll be doing on Monday. And I'm sure there'll be a big smile on his face as he replays that over and over again. There goes El Rey Guri, though, ahead of his teammate. 3rd place ahead of GB this time.
Yeah, and he's also going to go for 2nd place on Yorpa as well. I think he's going to be a little bit too far back to challenge Tom 97 as he tries to just move over and pick up the slipstream and squeeze Yorpa there. GB68 sticking his nose into the triple chicane. That's brave, and he just about pulls out there to not cause too much of an incident between himself and Yorpa. Now Yorpa a little bit vulnerable, and GB68 wants to get a move, but he doesn't want to lose the back end of El Rey Guri nor Tom 97. Goes on the attack, gets past Yorpa and moves up into 3rd position for this race. Everybody's being very well behaved at the moment. Great battles out on track. And do you know what? I think we need to mix up strategy a little bit in this race for the time being. So I'm going to say it again. I'm really impressed in the last couple of laps that we've seen from these drivers. Great battles amongst the field. No crashes, no safety cars. Big round of applause to all these drivers. And let's see if anything unfolds from that at the moment. As Tiamat Marduk gets his way past Yorpa as well and moves up into 4th position.
Yeah, Tiamat Marduk also on the rise, trying to follow suit with what El Rey Guri has managed to achieve. 2nd place for the Spaniard. And you have to fathom that there's an opportunity here for a move on Tom 97 alike. Aston Martin holding all the cards in 2nd and 3rd. Big points once again in the championship. And yet more cars breaking from the pack further down too. Obviously, Matty D13 has managed to get past B-Roy. Of course, Matty was at the back for a good portion of the race, but has now seen himself 3.5 clear of the Kick Sauber car at the tail of the field. Punju in 14th, being hunted down by Zafso, as you now watch Unstop Rob in his pursuit of that guy Vince, but going back to the front is now El Rey Guri, looks for that move for the lead of the race, and the championship leader back in a position that he is oh so used to. That guy Vince challenging Yorper as well, and coming back into the scrap, Tiamat Marduk now within proximity behind GB68. So once again, the two that came together at Australia last time out are now going to be fighting over third, but fighting over the lead now. This time it's El Rey versus Top 97. Two Spaniards essentially, Hayden.
Yeah, I'm just wondering on that tyre wear for El Rey Guri, because obviously he's on the medium tyres, everybody else is on the hards. Can he go to the end on these medium tyres? How bad is the wear going to be? I imagine traction is probably going to be the worst, because there's quite a lot of long straights. We're watching this battle unfold for what is basically the wooden spoon in this race. 17th position, not quite the wooden spoon, because that currently belongs to B-Roy in 19th position, who's 4 seconds behind that little battle that's going on. Back to the top then, Tom 97, in an Aston Martin sandwich at the moment. So we'll be wondering how that tastes over the remainder of this race. But it's El Rey Guri, leads from the front. Tom 97 second, GB68 third, Tiamat Marduk recovered back to fourth now. Now having a look on in the attack on GB68, going through this winding section, actually moving to the outside now. Can he have a look here? No, he thinks about it, but he's forcing the move from GB68. Oh, there's a big snap from Tiamat Marduk. I don't know if maybe that guy Vince got a little bit too close and tagged the back of Tiamat Marduk, or whether it was just traction or locking up the rears from Tiamat Marduk. But that was very, very close to being race done for the Aussie there. He just about survived that. And now we've got this four-way battle going between Yorper, that guy Vince, Alex Gillen getting involved, and Unstop Rob. Alex Gillen to the inside. Can he make it stick this time? It all went wrong last time he went wheel-to-wheel through there, and I think he just about survived it and moves up into 6th position.
Certainly less than comfortable heading through turns 14 and 15, but somehow managed to make it work as we now see them head through towards the first corner now, beginning yet another lap, this time lap 24 of 50. We're only 1 lap away now from the halfway point in this race. It's Aston Martin 1 and 2. El Rey Guri leads, GB68 in second, Tom 97 closing them down in third. Tiamat Marduk now waiting in the wings to land an attack of his own with that guy Vince in fifth as well. GB this time swaps for the lead, takes it away from El Rey Guri. Tom 97 watching all this happen right in front of him here as the rear steps out this time on his car, almost requisite of what we saw from him in Australia as well through turns 1 and 2, where he would lose out ultimately and drop through the field, later recovering to a P3 performance in what was a truly heroic final stint. But further down, once again, furthermore big players coming into it. Alex Gillen's big bold move coming through the chicane at turns 14 and 15, opening potential windows for him to land a blow on this top 5. But first and foremost, getting past that guy Vince is going to be no easy feat.
No, it's really not, but this is perfect for Aston Martin at the moment. 1 and 2, and they can start to work together. The Las Vegas trip is so long that it is difficult, but remember back to F1 sim racing. Remember back to when we went here with the 2 Ferrari drivers working together and to giving them that win over Thomas Ronhaar, and it worked out perfectly for them, and that's maybe what Aston Martin are going to try and do here, and it looks a lot well. Like there we go, GB68 in the lead. El Rey Guri slots into second, Tom 97 cannot get past. It's all about just allowing that driver to have enough of a gap, catch up, maybe overtake each other, but make sure that the driver behind in third position cannot close in and has enough top speed to get the overtake done down there. Dropping back out of the DRS though, Meraki 1.2 seconds off, being caught up in a fight with Yorper, and I think for Yorper those hard tyres now really starting to drop off compared to the rest of the field. But Meraki pushing pedal to the metal, as you love to say, and moves up back into that DRS range and closes up to Alex Gillen.
Yeah, certainly is. And coming into the fight now, late on the brakes for Tom 97 as he looks to challenge El Rey Guri once more. He looked to open the door, but once again, El Rey proving that he can race in amongst the best of them. I mean, if you look at this, such a contrasting performance from El Rey Guri from what we've seen in prior seasons. He's like a different driver this campaign, which is unbelievable to see. But now, at this point, GB being allowed to career away nearly beyond 0.8 of a second. Obviously, that was after Tom 97 tried the move down the inside, coming through turn 5. Obviously, was ultimately unsuccessful. And this could yet open the door for this man, Tiamat Marduk, to perhaps even take a chance and move past the RB in what would be huge for the championship, because these two, second and third in the title race. Team at Marduk, after taking the Interspole, would move into second ahead of Tom 97, who was only a point ahead coming into this round. Team at Marduk sweeping on by past Tom 97 as they head down into turns 14 and 15 at the chicane, and once more he's going to meet El Rey Guri and GB68. The fight for the win is on the table for everybody in this top 10 and beyond, so it's all up to chance. Let us know in the live chat who you think's going to get this one. It's GB though, who holds all the cards up at the front.
Yeah, just gone over the halfway stage now of this Las Vegas race. Still a long way left to go. I want to say a huge shout out though to Infratic and F1 Scott. What a drive they have had in the last few laps. Zafso got removed from the session, was losing a lot of time, cost those guys about 3 seconds of a gap, which around here, as soon as you lose the DRS, is very, very difficult to get back in it. But those two working together, DRSing off it one another, and they've managed to get back onto the rear end of Yorpa into the DRS train. And now, you know, potentially in the fight, of course, for the race win. Everybody who is in that has that chance. I did see momentarily Infratic did drop to 1 second. Nearly commentator cursed him, but he is still within DRS and has the chance now to be within this mix. And who knows, potentially a great result could come of it, because into that final lap, it's just going to be everybody who has saved their battery, burning it all the way down that straight and having the opportunity to try and fight. And as we saw yesterday in F2, B-Roy went for that maneuver. Infratic was there, Adam Sarnason was there. All three of them took each other out, and I just swooped past from 6th into 3rd position and took that. So anything can happen on that final lap. You've just got to be there to take that fight, as that guy Vince moves past Tom 97, who's really starting to lose positions, as now Alex Gillen goes up the inside of that guy Vince. He's on the inside, now has a look up Team at Marduk. Not quite sticking his nose in there. That guy Vince goes around the outside. A little bit of wheel banging between the two of them. But that guy Vince is going to hold that position. Oh my God, Yorpa in the background. Did you see that? He was all over the place. Great save from the Spaniard to hold the car pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, and Tom 97 moving past as well. Alex Gillen now up to 4th too. So now we're seeing Team Marduk and Alex Gillen together. Tom 97 falling through the field, and now finds that guy Vince all over the back of him here in this fight. Up at the front though, you can just see the two Aston Martins in control. This is a very teamed, coordinated race here on part of the team in green. They're keeping Team Marduk at bay. They've got Alex Gillen now queuing up in behind. Tom 97, that guy Vince. Unstopped Rob has returned as well. Meraki, Yorpa, who's been sending his rear left, right and centre right through the course of this race. Truly sensational moment, as now we brush into the midway stage of lap 27 of 50 through towards the latter stages of lap 27 of 50. El Rey Guri takes them through, coming out of turn 10 and 11 once more. A trip down towards turn 13 will then send them down into Las Vegas Boulevard and then in towards GB Corner at turn 14 and 15. And this time it's El Rey Guri who will lead them through it. Tom 97 waiting in the wings. Team at Marduk now on the proximity, on the precipice of taking the lead perhaps. As now El Rey out in front, GB in second. Could it be a 3-wide scrap? Team at Marduk's going to make that happen. He's going to try and take both Astons. Contact as they come through GB Corner. He's gone deep.
Oh, he's
just
round,
like GB
he's round.
did. He's round. And GB's caught up in it.
Huge
Team at Marduk's out. Huge crash. The safety car is out here at Las Vegas.
That was absolutely massive. Huge crash as Bamford now finds his way through and everybody's slowing down, taking it nice and easy. Team Marduk's car has been removed, so everybody can breathe a sigh of relief who's going through that corner. But who is that affected? Who's into the box? Everybody has decided to make a pit stop now in this race. El Rey Guri into the box, GB into the box. Everybody's into the box now. And this is really going to actually affect GB68 because he is now going to lose out a lot of positions. I don't know if he sustained front wing damage, and he tried to back off as much as possible, and he's actually slotted back into 3rd position, so I think he did that very, very well. So we're getting a replay of what happened on board with Team at Marduk. Just went far too deep, and he cuts back onto the track. I don't think there was anything El Rey could have done there. I don't think there was anything anyone could have done. Tom 97's coming through that corner. He's completely blind. I'd love to see an onboard of what happened with Tom 97 if we can in a moment. Producer Dirk. But, you know, Team at Marduk, I think that was an aggressive rejoin. You've got to slow down. You've got to take the hit on the ego. You've messed up. You've gone a little bit too deep. You've got to pull out there. You cannot just absolutely send it back on the rejoin, because you're going to clip that tyre of the car in front. And as we say, hindsight's an amazing thing. Ben will look back on that and go, yeah, okay, I went a little bit too deep in there. But in the moment, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about trying to regain and hold on to the position. So unfortunate there for Team at Marduk to get caught up in that and get of course, the incident. Let's have a look at then on Tom 97. He's a little bit too far back from there, and I think he potentially saw the opportunity, but as soon as he saw teammate Marduk sliding, he hit the brakes and just could not slow down enough. It's small amount of contact, but he just did it in the right place to knock off that front tyre of teammate Marduk Sadie there. Tom 97 getting front wing damage as well, but lucky to get away with that with no extra damage. I believe he's also picked up a penalty, which he might have got removed in the pit lane under safety car conditions. So, as it stands right now, El Guri still leads the way. GB68, despite getting caught up in that, still is in P3. Alex Gillen would be laughing right now in his racing rig because he's into P2. Is not closest rival really in terms of on track or the championship, but his rival,
his general rival,
exactly, is out of this race after a mistake of his own doing, and he's going to be very happy with that. But Zafso, look at this. I don't know whether that's him back in this race. I don't know if he's joined the session again or whether his AI is just not pit yet. But Zafso is into P5, and maybe he can do something from there. Who's going to really be the real winners? Tom 97's on soft tyres, so he's going to have to be on the comeback here and hope that there's another safety car. Safety cars breed safety cars. We've definitely got a mixed field here, and let's see what can happen. As Tom 97's now picked up a 10-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags.
That's extraordinary. So that's going to be a big blow for Tom 97, and will mean that he will drop down the order. Obviously, I'd imagine there'll be some footage presented, and we can take a little bit of a look at that perhaps later on. But El Guri out on 10-lap old hard tyres at this stage. Zafso hasn't yet pitted off those hards. He's going to be fodder for those on the fresh medium. So you've got Yorpa, Unstop Rob, Meraki all going to be queuing up against him. GB68, though, I don't want to say it, Hayden. I don't want to say it. He's on 1 lap all medium tyres. He can take those to the end. Alex Gillen is not going to have this all his own way here.
No, he certainly won't. But GB68 will be watching what just happened there and be like, do you know what, Ben? I feel you, okay? We've all been there. He's done it before.
We were there last
he
week.
Knows how it
we
feels.
were there last week.
Exactly.
And having the same protagonists once again from last week.
Yeah.
Once again coming together through the GB chicane, as we're now calling it.
And maybe GB68 will do it again. Maybe going into that final corner, he'll have the run of dreams. He'll see his name in lights. But the pressure might just get a little bit too much for him.
The lights will blind him and he'll miss the apex.
Yeah, push the clutch pedal instead and it just scoots off down into the run-off area. But yeah, unfortunately for Team Marduk, one of our championship contenders. But he has scored no points in this race. But he has got that 1 point from the Intermediate Championship. He is on a perfect 1,000 points. So he'll be very, very happy with that. Probably not. He's still going to be very, very frustrated. But there was a lot more points on the cards. And I think, sadly for Team Marduk, the reign of the Aussie is over at the end of the season. I think we're going to have somebody else win this championship.
Well, we say that obviously Alex Gillen is not, should we say, Team Marduk's rival in this championship. Technically he is, because coming into this round, Alex Gillen 4th, and actually 3 points behind coming into this round. Obviously, Ben has taken that additional intermediate tyre pole points, but at this rate, if Alex Gillen scores big here, he will breeze clear past Tom 97 and Tim Marduk in the championship fight. So that is going to be huge, I think, in the context of this. That brings Alex Gillen into the title fight against El Guri. But we've also got GB68 to consider, who currently sits behind Alex Gillen in the championship fight too. So this is a huge title contest that we have here. You've got El Rey, Alex Gillen, GB68, 3 out of the top 5 that are fighting for this championship. This is a huge, huge round, and it's just got hotter. And we've got only, after this, another 3 rounds, and that's championship over.
To never count out Tom 97. Yes, okay, he's down and out. He's in P17, but this is an overtaking circuit. If there's somebody you want to put your money on for overtaking, Tom 97. He is he's a class act when it comes to F1 game, when it comes to sim racing, and expect him to be making those moves. But when you're down there, it is difficult because the caliber of drivers is obviously not as high as the drivers up at the top. So sometimes making a move, sticking a nose in there, that driver's not going to leave you space because they're maybe not going to be aware to you making that move. Whereas the drivers at the top, they're going to work together. They're going to be a bit more smarter. Whereas the drivers at the back, they're scrapping for every position. They're scrapping for every battle. So you've got to pick and choose your battles. You've got to do it at the right time. But you've also got to have that little bit of urgency about you, because the more time you spend down there, the harder it is going to be to try and stay in that DRS train of the front runners. So Tom 97 is going to be coming back through the field. Who's going to have the best chance here? So on the medium tyres, we've got GB68, we've got that guy Vince, we've got Yorpa, we've got Unstopped Rob, we've got Meraki. I think they're going to have a really good chance. Hunju deciding not to box. 11-lap old medium tyres, that could bite him unless there's another safety car. El Rey Guri going back onto the hards he started this race on. So he's also going to be potentially a bit of a sitting duck. Will they make it to the end? Well, only time will tell. Safety car will be in on this lap. We're going to get back racing. It's going to be the championship leader who leads the way. But for now, Tom 97, I think he actually got that penalty for overtaking as he entered the pit lane. So a very strange one. But I'll hand back to you, George, as El Rey Guri gets this back underway.
Yeah, it's all on El Rey Guri, everybody. I can already see some of your messages from where we asked you to let us know who you think's going to win this one. Blast Enter, you said Ben. Ferrari Boy, you said Ben. I'm afraid it's not going to happen. El Rey Guri, though, making his way through the final corners now, taking a very steady restart as they head up towards the line. But as they do, it's pedal to the metal for the third time in this Grand Prix now. And El Rey Guri not getting the easiest of starts, but Alex Gillen being really hassled here by El Rey's teammate GB68, who's now trying to get contact between Yorpa and Meraki coming through the first sector. That guy Vince up into third as well has managed to breeze past Gillen. Gillen falling down the field. I said he didn't have an easy run through turn one, and he's lost more than that. He was in second as well earlier on, but now has seen himself drop down to 5th place, and now Unstopped Rob, who now moves past Zapso, is now hunting all over Yorpa's tail. A really rough start for Alex Gillen here, Hayden.
It's not what you need when you're on the hard tyres as well, because they're going to take longer to get up to temperature. Those on the mediums are going to have the advantage, and Alex going to needed a good restart, and he did not get that. Meanwhile, at the back, Tom 97 not making too much progress. He's got past Yours Sincerely, but that's about it, and he's stuck behind Hoodie Pete at the moment. He had a little manoeuvre into the midsection, couldn't quite get it done, but this is, again, really good for Aston Martin. GB leads the way. His teammate behind is on worse tyres, so for GB, he needs to keep in that position as round goes in Fratic at the back. As well safety as I believe there is somebody else. There's another safety car in this race. So it's all going to slow down. But yeah, Infratic got caught round with somebody. And Tom 97 has got a 10-second time penalty for a severe collision. B-Roy's got a severe collision. So Tom 97 is just getting harmed in this race. He's going to be so confused as to what's going on. Because again, I think there was another incident where I don't think he deserved a 10-second penalty. I think he just clipped Infratic as he was going to round him. Like Infratic was blocking the way. There was nowhere for Tom 97 to go. And unfortunately, he's got another penalty in this race. He's going to have to get removed. So what does he do with strategy? Does he still have medium tyres to his name? He's going to come into the box now to remove that 10-second penalty as soon as he possibly can. Also into the box comes Yorpa. Looks like Punju, of course, he was on old medium tyres, so he's also going to be in the box, and I'm sure Dirk right now is going to be getting a replay of exactly what has happened down at the back. So we're watching the battle up to the front between GB68 and El Rey Guri. Let's slow it all down and have a look at a replay. So here's Infratic. He's on the outside going in towards this left-right section. Zafso's still not in the session, so he struggled to get back. So potentially that was the issue, an AI car being problematic. As F1 Scott having a look up the inside. Infratic has a look up the inside. I think gets a little bit too deep. And yeah, Zafso's still hanging on to the right-hand side, being the AI car. And unfortunately there for Infratic round. And he also has what it looks like got severe floor damage. Going to be a miracle if you can get a result around in any race. But around Las Vegas, the opportunities are going to be there, because I'm sure there's going to be more instances. Safety cars breed safety cars. This is the fourth safety car we've had. We still have the possibility to have 2 more. We still have the possibility for more drivers to crash out. Top 15 are awarded points in the Creator Series. He's only a few positions away from that. If he can try and hang on and try and hope for the best in this race, potentially can be rewarded. It's gone onto soft tyres, is going to be going aggressive and going to be trying to see what can happen in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what this has done, though, is those that boxed onto the fresher medium tyres earlier on, this is great for them, because they're able to extend the life on these mediums longer. They'll have no issue getting to the end. El Rey Guri, his job has just been made harder by all of this, because, of course, this allows the mediums to get straight into the fight. Obviously, as far as El Rey's concerned, it means that it sets him up for failure. With that guy Vincent behind Meraki, Alex Gillen. Of course, though, Alex Gillen's on hard tyres. It's not going to necessarily be easy for him, because by the time they reach the window, we'll be coming into the dying moments of the race. And then also Unstopped Rob, who's going to be waiting in the wings. So those on the hards, they're going to have a huge task on their hand to try and bring these home and potentially get something from this race. This could be the day where we could see
it.
the redemption arc for GB68. And I want this to be written in the annals of Creator Series history. An opportunity here for GB68 to right the wrong from seasons ago. And what a story that would be, Hayden.
I'm not sure about the annals. You can write wherever you want, mate, but I'm not sure about that one. But GB68, of course, but also look who's in 4th position. Now, if Meraki managed to find his way into 2nd, which I think there's a big possibility, he could potentially get a repeat. Last lap, GB and Meraki fighting. And who knows, maybe it'll be Meraki who forgets where his brake pedal is this time. But I'm very worried about Elray Guri on those hard tyres that are 14 laps old. Now, we saw what happened to the driver in 2nd who didn't react well enough to the lead driver and lost out the time. Now, have Aston Martin been practicing these procedures? Is there a rhythm? Is there a routine? GB68 and Elray Guri, they're like, okay, we're going to weave 3 times after the corner, and on the 3rd time we go. And maybe they need to sort out that synchronized acceleration to help Elray Guri not get swarmed up by the rest of the field like we saw happen to Alex Gillen, because of course those tyres will not be up to temperature. It's very difficult to get temperature into your tyres on the F1 24 game, unless you press the pause button and then you get a lot of degrees. But don't tell anyone that, okay? Don't tell anyone that cheeky little chip. I'm sure a lot of them I'm sure a lot of them right now, I definitely know that Fabio right now has pressed that pause button. He's just like this. Oh, big stretch. Or look at that race director be like, right, so where is everyone in this position right now? Oh, safety car in this lap. Oh, I'm best come out of race director right now.
Terrific. No, I tell you what, though, I mean, folks at home, we want to ask you, who do you think is going to take victory in this one? I dare any of you to say GB68 for this one. We all want it to happen. Come on. We're taking another replay here, and it looks like Fabio has taken full use of the pause menu in this sense. Mr. Dale J, he's been listening to you, Hayden. Mr. Dale coming out and saying Matty D for the win. I think that might be a bit of an ask, though. As I say that, though, he is in 10th place. So
you never know, okay? We could have 17 drivers crash in this lap and Matty D wins this race. So you never know. Safety car in this lap, they're very close, George, so I'll hand back to you. Thank you very much, Hayden. On we go, folks. Maybe for the last time we say pedal to the metal, but this time for the 4th time in this race now. It's GB68 who leads the way at the get-go. We've got Elray Guri in 2nd. That guy Vince getting off the line quite quickly as well, and behind Meraki now challenging Alex Gillen. I alluded to the mediums v the hards, and the hards are failing here, and Gillen under pressure. That guy Vince getting an awesome jump, moves up into 2nd, and now pursues after GB68 in what could be a huge race for the Red Bull. Just how many times has that guy Vince won a race? It hasn't been that often. I don't think it's happened at all. So we've got 2 drivers on the cusp of potentially writing their names in the history books for race wins here in the Creator Series. No safety car deployed, that's just a visual glitch within the game, so don't worry about that. They are fully racing conditions right now, and it is Unstopped Rob right behind Meraki. Both these drivers trying to get past Alex Gillen as soon as possible. Alex Gillen, meanwhile, trying to get those hard tyres up to temperature, potentially not utilising that little cheat there of pausing the menu and getting tyre temperatures, because that's what it looks like. It just looks like tyre temperature, that Alex Gillen is struggling to fire them up on the initial restart and losing out those positions. Meanwhile, further down the field, Tom 97 trying to get back through the field, moving past the AI, I believe, of Zafso up into P14 now. We'll have his sights set on Hoodie Pete further up the road, but they are a little bit too far ahead. I think he's just taking his time to get past these drivers and move past them. Unstopped Rob moves past Meraki, but unable to get past Alex Gillen. GB68 leads the way, and he has over a second gap. If he can keep that on this second lap here, that guy Vince is going to be vulnerable to Elray Guri in this race, and it's really going to allow him that opportunity to run away with it if we don't get a safety car. And GB, I tell you what, he's going to work. He's just nestled in that fastest lap on top of breaking that DRS, Hayden. So he is absolutely flying at the key moments in this race. Lap 35 of 50, 15 laps to go. Dark Viper GT attacking Meraki as they head down in towards the next right-hander at turn 5, but still wheel to wheel as they stay and now linger, heading through towards turn 6. Meraki trying to hold it on as he looks to try and force back this attack from Dark Viper GT, who was so quick in qualifying. He's quick in the race too, and now up into 6th place. Yeah, very strong performance, and he's actually on hard tyres, whereas Meraki, Unstopped Rob, they're on medium, so he's showing some really strong pace at the moment. GB68, 1.2 now as we go down in towards the Las Vegas Strip. Is he going to hold that gap, or is that guy Vince just about going to grab DRS? It's 1 second now, and I think it's just going to be within the DRS range. Watch that rear wing. Is that guy Vince in DRS contention?
I don't think he is.
GB68, I don't think he is. No, he is. He's definitely gaining down this straight, and I think he just about got it at the DRS detection points. That saves him a little bit from El Rey Guri, but somebody's going to have to push. It's Unstopped Rob, but also Meraki. They're also vulnerable to losing out on DRS. Further down the field, Tom 97 now recovering into P13, getting past Hoodie Pete now, and his eyes set on Punju in the McLaren.
But he's lost DRS again, Hayden. That guy Vince beyond a second again. It's 1.1. El Rey Guri getting closer as well. So Aston Martin with a great chance to do a really phenomenal 1-2 here at Vegas. Rolling the dice brilliantly. They controlled the race superbly ever since from start to finish, and have now put themselves in a very good position to potentially be successful come the end of the day. GB68, he didn't even make it into Q3 for qualifying. He was evicted in Q2. His teammate El Rey Guri was on pole. This time though, it's the sister Aston Martin looking to take home the big prize. El Rey Guri, already a multi-time winner this season, has taken 3 so far this campaign. GB chasing his first. This could be a historic day for Aston Martin in their attempts to close out a potential team's title, and also for El Rey to scoop up furthermore big points in the wake of Tim McMahon crashing out earlier on, and with Alex Gillen currently lingering in P5 as we now watch the cars head through the next left-hander coming out of turn 12 and 13. Las Vegas Boulevard coming up next. GB68, 1.4 seconds to the good. That guy Vince cannot catch him, but El Rey Guri will catch that guy Vince coming down the straight. Gillen now, and Unstopped Rob going wheel to wheel, but here comes El Rey Guri, the Spanish god of the inside, as they head into GB corner. Aston Martin 1 and 2 here at Vegas, and it looks almost certain, Hayden.
Don't say almost certain just yet. Let's not commentator curse it just yet. There's still 14 laps to go in this race, but things are certainly looking good for the Aston Martin drivers, and this is perfect for GB68. His teammate behind on worse tyres. He's obviously going to have the advantage on those mediums as they're battling down at the mid-pack. It's 7th to 8th to 9th, all fighting away. Dark Viper getting involved there. Tom 97 unable to get past Punju and Matty Dia, who going wheel to wheel through turn 2. But now Tom 97 having the attack on Matty D. Meanwhile, they're going 3 wide. Dark Viper, F1 Scott and Meraki. It's Dark Viper who moves up into 7th position. Scott slots back in 3rd, and Meraki slots, Scott slots back in 8th position. But I think Scott has a little bit of front wing damage. If I look correctly at the front wing, yes, he's missing the right end plate, so he's going to be struggling slightly around this circuit, but thankfully you're running a low downforce around the Las Vegas circuit, so it's not going to affect you as much as if you were like at a circuit like Monaco or Hungary, for example. You're going to get away with it slightly around here. So F1 Scott vulnerable at the moment, and those behind are going to be looking to try and get past him as soon as possible. But up the front, GB68 just increasing that gap, and these two are doing the right thing. They need to DRS off each other, work together. As there's a yellow flag further down the field. I'm not too sure who's involved in that. I think is it B-Roy at the back? Yes, it is B-Roy, I think, at the back, who's lost out there, as Tom 97's going for 2 here, down in towards the triple chicane up the inside of Bamford, trying to work it out, and he thinks better of it. He knows that there's still a lot of laps left to go in this race, and there's definitely going to be that opportunity to get past Bamford once again. But Tom 97 certainly on the charge, having a great comeback race. The game keeps on putting him down. It keeps giving him penalties, but no matter how many times you put Tom 97 down, he always comes back as he has a little look up the inside of Bamford. Can't quite get the maneuver done.
He could still get something out of this race. He got something out of Australia where it all looked dire. Few incidents crept in during the course of last weekend, but he managed to fight back. Dark Viper GT moves up to 7th, ahead of Meraki, who's now down to 8th. Surely, though, the Williams will reply, as Dark Viper will sacrifice DRS when they reach the DRS detection point, coming out of turn 12 into turn 13, as they now head through the chicanes, coming through 7 and 8, through towards turn 9 as well. And then the trip down Sands Avenue once again as we ride on board with Tom Martinez. Tom 97, 10th place, still in a points-paying position, but no doubt he'll want something a little more. Bamford sits in front of him, more points on the table. that sit right above. A bit of a lock-up there from Dark Viper up in P7 as well, but he is now 3 seconds behind Unstopped Rob, so there'll be no chance of any slipstream or DRS for Dark Viper here at this point as F1 Scott breezes past Matty D, or at least keeps Matty D at bay in 12th place. Meraki and Dark Viper coming together again. Viper losing out twice as Bamford moves up into 8th. Tom 97 with a great chance now to tackle Dark Viper. As late on the brakes goes Bamford, very nearly losing it altogether through GB corner, and this will give the run to Tom 97 heading through the final stages of this lap 39.
Yeah, Tom 97 on the inside now, going for the final turn. The inside 9, always the best at this part, because then you get the inside line once again down into turn 1. He moves himself up at a P9, and the recovery is still on for Tom 97. Up next is Dark Viper on the hard tyres. He'll be looking to get past him as soon as possible. Somebody who could potentially upset the order in this race, Yorpa. He's, gone under the radar and has moved now up into 4th place after sustaining that damage earlier on. Has gone to soft tyres and is now back into 4th. And obviously, being on the soft tyres has the best grip of anybody. They're 7 lap old compared to GB68, whose tyres are 11 laps old. And he's within the DRS now of Elray Guri and that guy Vince. Bamford picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. The yellow flag, F1 Scott has retired in this race. And where is that? That is down in towards the triple chicane in Sector 2. There's a virtual safety car that's been deployed. I think potentially he's just been squeezed on the outside. He had that front wing damage. So either he got caught out with a lot of understeer through that corner,
or just safety car?
Got caught up. And no, it's still yes, it is. I can see a safety car out on track. Yes, full safety car. And we're going to get a less than 10 lap shootout at the end of this race. So what does everyone do? Do they all box the softs at this stage of the race? Elray Guri on 20 lap old hards surely has to go for it. But what about GB68? And this could potentially lose it, because being the leader, you want track position, but you're also vulnerable. You need to make that choice. He's making that choice. He's coming into the box. He does not care about track position. He wants those soft tyres, and he's going to take it. Is anybody going to stay out in this race? GB boxes, that guy Vince boxes, Yorpa's in the box, Killen's in the box, Rob's in the box, Meraki, he's also into the box. Tom 97 though, he stays out. He's on 8 lap old medium tyres. He wants it. He shoots to the top of the order. Everybody else though into the box, as is Infratic. Zafso, I believe, is potentially still an AI car. So Zafso decides not to box, and that could be huge for everybody who is 3rd onwards. Because GB68 is currently, Zafso is currently potentially AI mode and is going to be holding up everybody. Sorry, I missed that clip of F1 Scott and what happened. So if you saw it, George, feel free to talk us through what happened.
Well, it just looked like even he was, I think, befuzzled by the situation, I think. But yeah, it was just unlucky as far as F1 Scott.
Let's watch it again. Let's watch it again. Okay.
It looked like it looked like it was a rear entry, and also at the same time he ran wheel to wheel, caught the left rear tyre on the Red Bull, I think, just in front of him. Oh. And that's what really upset the balance. And then I think just getting tapped in the rear and then making contact with the barrier. It was just a sequence of errors, really, that as soon as he went into the braking zone, everything was out of his control. And yeah, there is a level of bemusement on his face for good reason, I would suggest.
A weekend to forget for F1 Scott. Out in F2 yesterday, somebody punted him out.
Double whammy.
I can't remember who punted him out yesterday, but somebody took him out. And then I think, just unfortunately got glued there with Infratic and sadly out again.
Look at the complexion we've got for this final few laps here in this race.
I'm worried for everybody from Alex Gillen down, because Zafso, if he is still AI car, I'm going to quickly have a look on, if we can get Dirk to quickly jump onto Alex Gillen's stream. I want to see if there's an AI logo above Zafso's name, because I still haven't seen him come back to the session.
No.
And if he hasn't,
how is he
in the way. Yeah, I mean, how's he in 4th? But also, we saw the contact with Infratic. You have to be careful with an AI car because they are massively unpredictable and super aggressive. And let's have a little look. And yes, you can see the red X alongside Zafso's name. He's not in the lobby, so you have to be careful. There's the urgency. You need to get past him as soon as possible, but you need to do it in a safe manner, because if you don't, you're going to take yourself out, you're going to take another driver out, and you're going to ruin your race. So you need to be careful about it. And Zafso could potentially hand this race win to either Tom 97, GB68, or look who else is in there. That guy Vince, another driver who has never won a race before. One of those two will be very, very happy at the end of this.
Yeah, they absolutely will be. And they're on probably the best tyres to be on at this stage. But a huge gamble from Tom 97, who has had everything thrown at him through the course of this race, where it comes down to penalties, where it comes down to being involved in incidents that weren't actually his fault. Till his insurance premium just went sky high, but he's got a great chance of perhaps taking victory out of nowhere. But he has a history of doing this. We saw it at Australia last time out, where he grabbed P3 from the depths of uncertainty. But after that last gasp crash from the man that sat behind him, GB68, it led to him managing to take what looked to be an elusive podium. But he could be on the cusp of being a victor here this time. But it's going to be so tough to fend off the approaches from GB68 and that guy Vince on those soft tyres. So keep your eyes peeled on the Aston Martin and the Red Bull that sat behind. We've already seen that guy Vince is not afraid, Hayden, to go for the big moves.
No, he's not, and he's going to need to put away that shaky leg now, because it always comes out. And I think, especially for someone like that guy Vince, who's rarely in a position where it's able to fight for a win, you need to kind of settle those nerves, keep the heart rate down, keep an eye on that braking leg, and it's always the braking leg. The throttle one is nice and simple, it's an easy push, but the brake leg, you've got a bit of a load, so you've got a strong brake underneath you, and it starts to shake. And if it's starting to shake on the brakes, I think, especially what we saw GB68 do last time he came to Las Vegas, you can make that mistake and you can throw it all away. So he just needs to settle those nerves, and there is a fantastic opportunity to take a race win today.
There definitely is that, and what a moment it would be too. I can only imagine what his reaction could be. Safety car confirmed coming in this lap as deemed by race control. Tom 97 aggressively warming up his tyres, making sure they're up to optimal temperature. He's going to need a really good getaway here to negate the attack here from GB68, who will immediately have the speed on those brand new soft tyres that have yet been put to work just yet. Let us know in the live chat as to who you think is going to take this one, folks. It just got juicy. We've got several drivers with a chance to take it, but now, as we come to the closing stages, the shootout is on, and it's pedal to the metal for the 5th time in this Grand Prix now. It's Tom 97 who leads. GB68 getting a decent jump, though. 3/10 is all that separates them. Further back, Zafso has been claimed by Stop Rob. Alex Gillen as well has gone on through. Zafso against Elray Guri now. The Aston Martin, who has also got to try and make up places again. He's back on fresh soft tyres and no longer up with his teammate, but Tom 97 losing the lead. It's GB who has taken it back.
GB back into the lead of this race. Zafsobot was getting in the way. It was a bad restart from Zafsobot that compromised Alex Gillen and lost him time, but he was able to come back as Zafso's still getting in the mix, and Yorpa's got front wing damage and Fratik's got a warning. It's all kicking off at the back, trying to get past Zafsobot at the moment. GB68 rises to the top. Vince needs to get past Tom 97 as soon as possible to give himself a chance of the race win, and Zafsobot still holding 8th place in this race right now. Yorpa, front wing damage. He's going to be thoroughly disappointed with that. Meraki and Punju are the next one. Punju, what a race this could be if he could find himself into the points. Has a penalty to his name, and he's caught Zafso at the perfect time now. As up at the front, Tom 97 takes the lead away from GB68, but here comes that guy Vince in the slipstream. No DRS activated yet. He's completely boxed in on the inside, but he tries to have a look around the outside. GB puts him into the wall though, and they all get through nice and tightly. Tom 97 still leading the way as it's all kicking off at the back around Zafso once again. Yorpa dives past the Alpine car. Bamford gets past him, and they're all just kicking off at the back, trying to get past him as soon as possible, which you need to do because he's just going to slow you down. AI level is lower than obviously the ability of this lobby, and I think everybody has finally got past, but there's definitely been a few victims in that as well. As that guy Vince has got past GB68 and moved up into 2nd place. They're fighting at the moment, and that guy Vince may be potentially going to take the lead.
Yeah, he's not waiting around. He's going to try and do it here at Colval Lane, and he's going to do it. That guy Vince leads here on lap 43 of 50. Tom 97 down to 2nd. Alex Gillen now attacking GB68 as well. He's come from nowhere and has entered into the fight. Yellow flags in Sector 1 as Infratic is round once more. But Alex Gillen up into 2nd. Where has he come from? He made 2 overtakes in the space of 1 solitary sector that lifted him from obscurity in the mid part of the top 10, and he now sits in 2nd place on the fresh soft rubber that is shared by GB68, Elray Guri, and current race leader, that guy Vince.
Somebody hand that guy Vince a tissue because he is certainly going to be having a nosebleed right now. He's never seen his name so high in the standings. Leading the race on lap 43 out of 50. Elray Guri now going for the attack on Tom 97. GB68 unfortunately has dropped out a lot of positions. Alex Gillen now maybe potentially having a look on that guy Vince, settles behind him P2 for the time being as GB68 right up tucked behind Tom 97 at the moment will want to get a move on, but so will Elray Guri, who is tucked up behind the back of Alex Gillen going down into the first corner. GB68 in the background of your screens there, getting past Tom 97 on the inside, moves up into 4th place, as does Unstopped Rob on the inside into turn 1. It's wheel to wheel between the Mercedes and the RB, and it is Unstopped Rob who moves up into 5th position. And we said that they were a dark horse in this race. Look out for Dark Viper, 7th position, new soft tyres in this DRS train.
Yeah, Dark Viper is slithering his way up through the top 10 and looking really strong as well. Let's take a look at the replay involving Fabio's mistake coming through Koval Lane.
Unfortunately, it's Safso bot again.
Well, it could yet be. I'm telling you now. Keep your eyes peeled, folks. Oh, it's Matty. Matty D13, and he's got side pod damage, front left wing damage as well. Hardship, heartbreak for Fabio once more, as we now rejoin the action up at the head of the field. That guy Vince holding on to that race lead, but for how much longer can he hold on to it for? He has got Alex Gillen breathing down his neck, and they're making their way now down through Las Vegas Boulevard with a train of cars all on fresh soft tyres, all on the same strat. Unstopped Rob has joined this contingent too, and the rear light is flashing on Gillen's car, but it won't perturb him. Rear wing opens up here for Gillen, Creator Series champion in the past, and now moves his way past that guy Vince to take the lead of the race now once more, and now sits at the head of the field. But all importantly, he has still got 6 laps, including this one, to bring this race home.
That guy Vince doing an incredible job at the moment in this race, just keeping his cool, keeping it calm at the moment. Has a look around the outside in towards turn 1, decides against it, slots back into 2nd position. Elray Guri. How difficult must this situation be for that guy Vince at the moment? You've got a past champion ahead of you. You've got the championship leader behind you. You've got another incredible consistent driver who is also fighting for his first race win. But that guy Vince is holding his own at the moment in this race and doing a fine job of it. He's 2nd place at the moment, tucked up behind Alex Gillen, and 2nd is the place you want to be. I mean, 3rd is also a great opportunity for the race win, but 2nd, you get that first opportunity of DRS. But are we going to see a few games played at the end of this race? Are there going to be a few drivers being like, oh, whoa, I've made a little bit of a mistake going on to the Las Vegas Strip. I've shot over to the left-hand side and opening up that door to get back into that DRS position. It's going to get interesting. We've got 5 laps left to go to sort this all out. One of these drivers here is going to be a race winner. We're just going to have to find out who.
Yeah. We certainly will. And if we look back to the F1 Sim Racing Pro Championship, it certainly was the case that Ferrari allowed Thomas Ronha to lead on the final lap, which opened the door for the Ferrari team to take the race wins and 1-2 successfully. That guy Vince has now reclaimed that race lead, but now back comes Gillen, heading through now the trickiest section at GB corner. They're still going to run wheel to wheel though. Alex Gillen wasn't able to get the move done, but that guy Vince confidently and coolly held on to that race lead. Gillen is throwing him little moments, a few mind tricks creeping into this. As now the Astons go on the attack. Here comes Elray Guri, and now we've got Unstopped Rob as well from the brink of nowhere and a P5, and has managed to break past GB68. And Elray Guri side by side with Alex Gillen. Stunning from Elray Guri. The Spanish god is into 2nd place.
This is incredible racing. They're all scrapping hard because they know they're getting into the final moments and they need to position their car where they want to be. GB backs off massively, doesn't want to get involved in that scrap, knows that there's still a lot of laps left to go. There's still that opportunity to work your way through this order. It's an easy track to overtake at, so he wants to take his time. Unfortunate there to be overtaken by Unstopped Rob. You want to stay ahead, though, of Tom 97. You do not want to get stuck behind the driver on medium tyres. Further down the field, just want to shout out to Infratic. He still has an opportunity for a point in this race, because remember, Zafso bot is running, and if he's slightly slower than Infratic with that front wing damage, could potentially get that P15, because B-Roy is so far behind after making a pit stop after that safety car restart. But back to the battle at the front. Here we go. That guy Vince leads the way. Elray Guri is in 2nd. Then it's Alex Gillen 3rd. Unstopped Rob 4th. GB68 is in 5th. But who's going to be leading as we go down in towards turns 14 and 15? Let's find out. It is Alex Gillen, though, trying to go on the attack of Elray Guri, who doesn't want to overtake that guy Vince yet. Elray Guri squeezes him to the inside, says you better back out of this one because it's not going to work out well for you. And Alex Gillen takes that note and he says, okay, cool, I'll try again on the next lap.
Yeah, absolutely. I think GB68's waiting for the right moment as well. He sat behind Unstopped Rob heading down the long Las Vegas Boulevard, maybe waiting for something to, waiting for something in the wings. Alray Guri sat behind that guy Vince as well as Unstopped Rob and Alex Gillen come together this time. So Gillen now under threat from all angles once more. The top 7 all within a chance of taking a race win here at Vegas. It's going to be a gamble. What better place to go than Vegas as we now watch them here make their way down through Koval Lane. Once again, a trip through turn 5, and that guy Vince holds all the cards. But will it be a running flush here for that guy Vince? Will it be certainly a race when he runs deep? Oh, Gillen! Oh no! Alex Gillen's made his way through to 3rd. That guy Vince, a crucial error, and I think that is that loose brake pedal you were talking about, Hayden.
Yeah, maybe that shaky leg there. Somebody else with a bit of a shaky leg. GB68 a little bit late on the brakes, tagged the back of Unstopped Rob. We'll be hoping that he didn't get front wing damage there as GB68 gets very close to the back of the Red Bull of that guy Vince. I mean, luckily for Vince, there's still a few laps left to go. Every opportunity. Look at Dark Viper in 7th position. I think he's just happy to be there. You know, one of his first races being up at the top as GB68 and that guy Vince make slight contact. Here comes GB moving up in a 4th position. Unstopped Rob having a look on Alex Gillen, but now Alex Gillen really pushing it to go for the overtake on Alray Guri. GB68 round the outside of Unstopped Rob, going to try it on Alex Gillen as well. He's going to be left the room. He's going to move up into 2nd position, but running away goes Alray Guri. It's 8 tenths, 9 tenths. Alray Guri's going to be burning that battery right now, and he is burning the battery to escape from GB68 and try and drop him out of the DRS window. There's 3 full laps left to go, and Alex Gillen and GB68 need to stop fighting hard. They need to work together to get back in DRS range of Alray Guri if they want a chance of this race win.
Otherwise, it could yet be a 4th race win here for the Spanish god. Alray Guri leads the way now by 1.2 seconds. It has grown once more by another 2 tenths. Alex Gillen now down in 3rd. That guy Vince on the attack here. Tom 97 coming wheel to wheel there. RB meets Red Bull here on lap 48, and now it meets the kick. Sauber, I think those tyres are done. Tom 97. That guy Vince, though, has lost out twice. He is now down to 7th place. He was leading not too long ago, but after that major error coming through Koval Lane, it cost him massively through turn 6 and 7 and later 8. But now it's Alray Guri. GB68 has broken back to within a second now, so we will have that key DRS, hopefully, heading down the Las Vegas Boulevard, Hayden. It's
on the bubble, it's close, it's 9 tenths of a second, but I think he might just scrape inside that DRS zone. Somebody who's very comfortably in it is Alex Gillen, and I'm sure he's going to fly past GB68, but that's what they need to do. They need to not fight it out. They've got enough of a gap to Unstopped Rob that they can work together to get back into it, and the 3 of them will have that chance for the race win at the end of this race. Dark Viper, great overtake on that guy Vince, opportunistic on the mistake again from Vince into turn 3. He's got a little bit too eager on the throttle, lost the rear end, and I think that was just what we were talking about earlier. You know, not being in a race-winning position before, the shaky leg, the nerves getting to him, and just making those small errors. It's still been a formidable drive for that guy Vince to be up there, and he's got a couple of laps just to recover this race and get into another strong position, because I'm sure, you know, finishing 7th when leading this race for quite a few laps, he'll be disappointed with that, and he'll be looking to break into that top 5 once again. But they're all back in the DRS range. We've got 2 full laps left to go. It's anyone in the top 4 that I think can take this.
Yeah, we're on the penultimate lap of the race right now. Lap 49 of 50. The next time of asking will be the last. Alex Gillen is getting closer. He can almost lick that rear wing on the back of Alray Guri's car. GB68, though, is watching every move that he makes. DRS is now no longer an issue. It's a fundamental here at this point, here in the final 2 laps of asking, and Alray Guri holding the lead, but for how much longer can he do so? Because later Alex Gillen's got to make a decision. Do I make the move now and lead on the final lap, leave myself exposed to those behind to potentially miss out on this race win? I think he's going to play it clever, you know, and leave it to Alray Guri on this particular lap, but also at the same time he has to be thoughtful of GB68 in behind as they head down into GB corner. He will indeed wait behind tactics at work here, Hayden.
Yeah, everybody is just saving their battery. People were burning it slightly down the straight just to make sure that they weren't overtaken, but they've all pretty much got full battery. El Rey Guri's on about 70%. Alex Gillen's on about 90%. Then we've got GB68, who's on about 90% as well as Alex Gillen having a little look there. GB68 as well as Unstopped Rob has a look on the inside. He's also got pretty much a full battery, and they're all just biding their time in this race as B-Roy retires from the race out on track, but his car's being recovered, so that will not be in the way as well. Final lap, we got DRS zone here, and it's Alex Gillen having a look around the outside of El Rey Guri. He wants to lead going on to the Las Vegas Strip. Unstopped Rob had a look on GB68, couldn't quite do it, and it's Alex Gillen now who moves into the lead of this race as El Rey Guri locks up and nearly tags the back of the Haas car. They're all so close together, and they're getting now down in towards the Las Vegas Strip. So I'm going to hand it over to you, George. It's the last chance to dance. Who will take the race win? Let's find out.
Well, they're going to be building castles around Sands Avenue, but who is going to march the assault this time around? Alex Gillen leads the way, but was it a smart move to take the lead at that very sensitive point? A big error, though, on the escape, coming out of turn 12, out of turn 13. One last trip down the Las Vegas Boulevard to decide the winner here at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, here in the F1 Esports Creator Series. GB68, he's in jeopardy. Here comes Tom 97 out of nowhere on those used medium tyres. Defensive goes El Rey, protecting his teammate through GB corner they go. GB trying to hold on to third. He does. A big crash coming through the final echelons of this, but nobody could stop the man who was a former champion of this series. Alex Gillen is your winner of the Las Vegas Grand Prix here in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. El Rey Guri, a fantastic second. He lost his end plate in that little tap behind Alex Gillen, but managed to bring it home for second. Aston Martin making a 2 and 3 with GB68 this time finishing on the podium here at Las Vegas, but no doubt he would have wanted the win, Hayden.
Yeah, certainly would have felt that that one's got away from him today, but it could have been anyone's in the top 5. They all were incredible drivers today, and had some incredible form, you know, even that guy Vince, Tom 97 and Unstopped Rob. Unfortunately, Rob just tried it around the outside as GB68 and Tom were fighting through the chicane. The door opened, but it's always going to close as the nature of that corner, and they just got tangled together, and in doing so, opened the door for Dark Viper. I said he was our dark horse in this race, P4. An incredible performance from Dark Viper. He'll be very happy with that one to finish in P4. Our final driver to come across the line is Infratic, and he's just taking it easy. A race to forget for Infratic, floor damage, so he wasn't really going to have a strong result in this race. He's actually reversing to the line, driving actually pretty faster in reverse than he was going forward in this race. But yeah, unfortunately couldn't catch up to Zafso Bot, but I think will inherit the extra point from Zafso, as Zafso didn't take part in the majority of the race. So it will be a point awarded to Infratic in this race. But yeah, great batting at the end. And Alex Gillen got it spot on. It's all about timing when you go for that move for the lead. Do you wait for the strip? Do you go for it earlier? Alex Gillen got a move on and said, you know what, I'm going to hold on to my battery and I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to drive away from them on the strip. And he did that, and he perfected it. So hats off to Alex Gillen. Great drive once again. And I think it was probably one of the drivers that we didn't expect to be up there, to be fair.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I mean, I thought it was very bold going for the move of the lead at that sensitive point. I don't know what Fabio's doing right now. Oh my goodness!
Thinking out El Rey Guri's car. Yeah. Virtual safety cars being
safety
deployed.
Cars out. Safety cars being
out.
Deployed.
We go again.
The VSC has become a full safety car, everybody. Fabio in a world of his own. Hasn't been a day to remember. Generally, the Las Vegas races can be a little bit of a challenge for our Fabio. And it's once again a challenge.
To be honest.
Yeah, most races, absolutely. And once again, it seems like the challenge has bested him on this occasion. But Alex Gillen, vastly superior this time, though I will say a gallant effort from the Aston Martins. Brilliant effort from El Rey. Despite tapping the back of Gillen, was able to continue to fight despite losing the front end plate. It was a war of attrition coming through turn 12 and turn 13. It looked like Gillen had a very untidy run coming through the Las Vegas Boulevard, but managed to carry the speed through towards the checkered flag, and it was a well-deserved victory in the end for a man who was already being crowned yet a champion in the F1 Creator Series. Of course, we look back in the amount of races that he has, of course, taken part in. A World Drivers' Champion, 17 race wins, becomes 18 now throughout the entirety of his Creator Series career. And more to come, no less. I'm sure that number will only rise. 32 top 10s, 26 podiums now as well. So many reasons for him to celebrate. But, I mean, take nothing away from GB. Retribution has somewhat been discovered, but obviously a race win would have been all the better. Alex Gillen is your race winner, and he will take all the points. Elray Guri in second. Aston Martin made it 2 and 3 with GB68 in third. A great finish from Dark Viper on those tyres. Managed to finish in fourth for Kick Sauber. Meraki, again, where does he get it? Fifth place for Williams. That guy Vince, what could have been? Sixth place. Tom 97 after that incident in the Dire Straits. Finished in seventh as well. Yorper further down, Punju, Yours Sincerely, Matty D won 3, then Bamford, and unfortunately we lost the rest. But I'm sure you'll see the results later on when the graphics are posted. But I mean, Hayden, how can we summarise that? I mean, I think off the back of that particular race, I mean, all the action was up at the very front towards the end. A 7-car scrap on the final lap. I mean, that is what dreams are made of in the Creator Series, right?
Yeah, certainly so. I think, fantastic session from all of the drivers out there. Great performance from them all. I think better than the first time we went to Vegas. Not as many incidents, whilst there were incidents out on track and they were quite big ones. It wasn't as bad as we saw, originally in Las Vegas, where we had all the safety cars utilized in the first 25 laps. And there were some really great battles out there, some really great side-by-side moments. So fair play to everybody out on track. An incredible performance. Driver of the day, there's definitely a lot of people to be put in that mix for that because there was such strong performances. Alex Gillen, great drive from him, but, made that mistake when holding on the outside and being pushed into the wall. For me, I'm going to give it to Dark Viper. I'm going to give driver of the day to Dark Viper because I think, a strong performance, one of his first times in the F1 series, and just kept it clean. Didn't get involved in too many battles, drove his own race, capitalized when he was supposed to at the end, and I think it was a very, very strong performance from him.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it to GB. I think off the back of an effort of getting, because of course he didn't qualify into Q3. He was knocked down.
We'll give him a consolation prize for not being
I think he deserves that. But that's his 16th podium of his Creator Series career, so that is something anyway. Still chasing that first elusive race win. Obviously, he did take a sprint race win once upon a time, but even he doesn't count that, and I wouldn't expect him to either. But let us know in the live chat who you think your driver of the day is. Obviously, we'd like to hear from you as to what you think. We will, of course, be hearing from the one and only Alex Gillen very shortly, and I believe he is waiting in the waiting room, so we will await his entrance into the commentary box. In fact, he's arrived right now. Alex Gillen, can you hear us, Alex?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Well, hey, congratulations, sir. I mean, it was quite the fight on the final lap, and I must say, I thought you were crazy going for the move as early as you did.
Well, look, it's just a game. It's a bit of a bittersweet win, that, to be honest, because you have to play the DRS games. It's so powerful in this game. Everyone's so close. I think on the final lap, I had about 5 cars within a second of me. You just have to play the games. Elray massively slowed down into turn 1, wanted me to go past. I knew he wasn't going to fight me too hard on the DRS straight. Again, I had to go past, because otherwise GB was going to come through or something. You don't really want to be third in the final lap. You want to be second, ideally. It's a difficult one to manage. So I thought, well, look, if he wants me to go through, I'll go through. Got a bit of a nudge in the middle of that stopped me getting any real distance, which, put us even closer. And then from there, the straight just before the long straight, I had to just square the corner off. I dragged the brakes. I went a bit slower than normal, dragged the brakes, straightened up, and then just floored it. As I said, it doesn't feel great. It's a bit bittersweet, that one, with the DRS games that are needed, but it's just the game you play. But, it is one of those. It's the game you play, and I'll take a P1.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite an important one because obviously many of the championship contenders were involved in that tussle. TM Marduk, we lost very early on in the race as well. And this actually becomes, I believe, your 18th race win in the Creator Series as well, which is quite the feat. Obviously, this at this point pulls you, I think, above Tim Marduk in the championship standing, so which is integral. And also at the same time, Tom 97 takes a big drop after his result today. So the championship fight is really well and truly on.
I mean, I'm a commentator's worst nightmare because I've been playing down the championship ever since Elray's been so dominant. I do think he's still going to win the championship, but It is very close to me, Tom, and Ben. There was 4 points between us before that race, and I did go for performance today, unlike last week. I did actually, really concentrate heavily on strategy. It was not a clean race for me. There was various little mistakes in there, especially the 3 wide around the outside at the end of the long straight early in the race. Not a clean one, but kept it clean enough, stayed in the fight, and I think it's going to get onto the wire for P2 in the championship.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tight, but obviously plenty of players looking to come through. But, we've got a small matter of 3 races that obviously will decide it. In terms of the games that were being played out there, obviously 5 safety cars pretty much tears out any plan that you've had, right at the start of the race. But was it tricky to sort of pinpoint when the right time was to stop? Because we saw a few drivers taking a few big decisions. We saw Tom 97 going long on his tyres briefly to try and obtain track position towards the bitter end, which looked like it was going to work, and it just didn't pay off towards the end after his crash. Was there a few insecurities on your part as to your decision making into finding your place on the classification?
Really, in terms of strategy, on last year's game, I was calling for less safety cars because it takes a lot of the strategy out of it. But on this year's game, actually, I think with how the ERS and DRS combine, and the slipstream and the dirty air and all those things, I think we do need safety cars in this game to spice it up. I was certainly the beneficiary of one today after my early wing damage. So, not really though, because it's always, generally speaking, quite an obvious choice. You pretty much box under every safety car unless it's only just been another one, or it's only just been the race start. You pretty much always box. At the end there, everyone went soft, so it was a bit of a no-brainer. Tom 97 rolled the dice after his issues today. But yeah, today, safety cars, I think, in the end, detracted from it. Certainly the last one, because we had me in, P5 for the last safety car with fresh hards. Elray in, I don't know what he was, P2, P3 with 10-lap old hards. And then the other 2, so I think there was someone there in mediums, and there was someone there on softs. So it was going to be really close at the end there, with GB with a bit of a gap, but I would have had better tyres than him at the end. It would have been really, really interesting on strategy. So, yeah, I think the safety car did rob us a little bit, that last one at least. But as I said, I do think this game needs safety cars. And yeah, in terms of strategy, it is generally pretty easy. They were quite nicely spaced for the most part today. So it's just a case of, box, what new tyres have I got? Cool, put them on. Cheers.
Well, it looked like it worked anyway, nonetheless. And you've got a big weekend coming up next up. We've got a sprint race weekend coming up, round 11, of course. So chances for everybody to obtain big points. But congratulations, Alex. Win number 18. And we'll wish you all the very best for the remaining 3 rounds.
Cheers, guys. Couldn't have done it without VSC setup. Get the plug in.
Top man, Alex Gillen, everybody. Of course, race winner here tonight, and a great effort on his part to achieve that too. We're going to be awaiting GB next as well. GB68, of course, who finished a gallant P3 on this occasion. It could have been more though. GB, you're joining us here in the commentary box. You'll be glad to know we've renamed turn 14 and 15 GB Corner. We think it fits after previous expeditions you've taken around that track, but it came close to win today. It must hurt a little bit.
I'm doing my best to put a smile on my face. So it's probably a bad job of it, but again, very crazy. I mean, it was painful. It was painful. What you saw was basically the guy came out and broke the RS. Race was being controlled. Happy with everything in the race. I had a few issues with myself. Yeah, there was a lot of craziness. I saw the late stage of chaos because they were so we got that. But I mean, God, I think Alex broke about 100 meters early going into the final straight, which I was really ready to teammate before you guys saw, which meant that there was just a cascade domino effect of that, and that meant that Alex had something like a 7, 8, 10th gap to my teammates. So reaction was not a great one, but here we are. I mean, I've got to say, it's the probably the most bitter I've been about getting a podium. It's a painful P3 at the end of that.
Well, I mean, it's only I think at this point your 16th podium. I think at this stage. I mean, that elusive race win. It's getting closer every single time. I mean, I was just talking to Alex. It was a bit of a lottery in terms of strategy out there, trying to pinpoint the to make the right decisions. We saw Tom 97 doing something a little different as well, elongating. Said the same to Alex Gillen earlier on. What were your thoughts today? Obviously, you might as well rip your plan up before you head into a race like that. But talk us through it. What was your plan?
Funnily enough, all right, this is going to sound really sweaty, but I actually spoke to Safso and Benjamin Daly before the race, and we were like, right, shall we start soft? There's bound to be a safety car. And then when we go softs, we can go into the hards. They'll go to the end of the race easily. and then maybe we could work together if there's no more safety cars. And we were like, yeah, that's a good plan. Let's do that. And that actually worked really well, because I think there was safety car on lap 8 or something. Yeah. So that was great. But yeah, obviously what happened after was it was just safety cars literally start to finish. So yeah, the last safety car really hurt. That was the difference maker. It was quite clear to see. But I mean, it was another good finish. I think it's safe to say all the talk of like DRS trains, ERS this game and stuff, it's certainly delivering brilliant races in Grade Series, because I think the last at least 3 races in a row have been like, to the line, close finishes, So
yeah. I mean, I talk about qualifying. I mean, at the end, we had, I think it was 4 drivers within 77 thousandths of a second, which is unbelievable. Like I said to Hayden at the top of the show, I said, this is generally something you see in an F1 Sim Racing World Championship race, where you get, multiple drivers, very nearly the top 10 or maybe even top 12, all within the same 10th of a second. Unreal.
Funnily enough, from qualifying, because I bottled quali, I didn't make it through to Q3, which
that's right. Yeah.
I was a second off the practice pace. I made you driver
the day for that. For the recovery. Yeah, let's go. So you get something. You get something.
No, but I was going to say that ironically, the reason why I was there at the end of the race was that I only had 2 sets of soft tyres because I bottled quali. So if I hadn't have bottled quali, I'd have been screwed for tyres on the last safety car. So I guess every cloud.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, we spoke to Alex Gillen. The title's not over. There is still points to be won. Next round is a sprint race round as well, so there's more points to obtain through that, and of course we've got 2 final rounds then afterwards, so it's very much a lottery still, and you guys, El Rey and G, yourself, you've been by far the most consistent team. So Aston Martin now leading the constructors, you're getting closer to that finish line.
Yeah, for sure. Constructors is definitely something I want to tie off. I don't know what the gap is looking like now, but it's got to be over 100 points with the double podium.
Well, it was beyond. I would say, you're beyond that. I mean, the total points I've got here, even prior to this round, was 273. You were on 91, a gap of 91 to RB in second. And obviously, Tom 97 didn't have the best of days today. So it does mean that I would say that you are well above 100, I would say now.
Nice, that's good. So I'm missing. So for the next 3 rounds, I'm missing those 2 races. Next week, I won't be there. So yeah, I have been saying in the background in the last 2-3 races, guys, I really want to score some good points just so that we can nip this in the bud. I know it's boring for all the viewers, but let's continue the Aston Martin dominance heading into the last 3.
Yeah, well, you definitely have a good chance of it. Congratulations, GB, on a fantastic result, and we look forward to seeing you for our next round.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, well done. GB68, 3rd place. Contender, and obviously did well to scoop up the big prize as well. So that's our podium sitters. Hayden, I mean, obviously an understandable reaction from GB, do you think? Because you would have wanted the win. P3, don't get me wrong, it's all well and good, but everyone wants to win, don't they?
It's one of those things that it depends, obviously, where you are in the tables and where you usually finish. If you've never got a podium before, you rarely get a podium. That podium's going to feel amazing. But as you said, 16 podiums now, and he's had quite a lot this season. That every chance that there's an opportunity to fight for the race win, not winning is falling a little bit short. And I feel like that's how he felt today, as he definitely had the potential, and he said it very well. Before that last safety car, he was in a very comfortable leading position, but you have to be prepared for that around Vegas, because it can so easily all come undone. It's like Monaco as well. It's one of those circuits where at any opportunity a safety car could come out and could change the aspect of the race, and it did that, and you just have to be prepared for it, and you've got to be in that right position. I think being in second place going on to that final lap, it gives you that chance to dictate whether you want to be slowed down by the driver ahead trying to play that DRS chicken, or whether you want to get past them, or whether you're that driver doing the DRS chicken. I know that there are games, I know certain people don't like them, but this isn't a league at the end of the day. We don't give out penalties for all these decisions. We don't report against each other. We're all just here for fun. And these games are always going to be played, and you just got to kind of laugh at them at the end of the day. And GB68 will be frustrated about it, but it's still a very strong performance. And as he said, he's trying to round out the constructors and then see what he can do for the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they are in the points you know, they're far above in the points now of the constructors. They've really marshalled a huge charge this season. El Guri has been driving out of his skin. GB68 still notching together those consistent results. He has scored a P2 this season. He's just added another podium to his account this time, on top of regularly scoring points the way he has done. And now they can look ahead to the sprint race weekend and carry all that momentum through, Hayden. I would say, no doubt, they've got a great chance of closing it out as of next week.
Yeah, certainly do. I mean, they have been the strongest lineup, and when the drivers have been put together in the lineup with El Guri, you know, coming into a new game, it's an unknown. You don't know how the drivers are going to fare. El Guri has always been a very quick driver, but he's also been incredibly inconsistent before this season and would have those mistakes. So he'd be a yo-yo. He'd be up and down the field between each races. Whereas this season, I feel like he's barely finished outside the top 3. He's had a fantastic season. And then GB68, again, another driver who's always up there, but also a driver who misses the odd races during the season. Whereas this season, he's been consistently showing up. So just those together have allowed these drivers to you know, get their best performances out of this season and put Aston Martin right at the top. And they've had an incredible season. And if they are to win the championship, whether it's next round, the round after that, or the finale, they fully deserve it because they've been fantastic all season.
They certainly have, and I tell you who else has been fantastic. It's the viewers at home as well, folks. We really do appreciate all your support, and obviously make sure, if you haven't done so already, if you've been watching on Twitch, hit that follow button, and also if you've been watching on YouTube, big hello to you guys. Hit the subscribe button and leave a follow, and also check out the Creator Series socials. We've got, as on top of YouTube and Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, or X, as well as TikTok. Check them out at F1 Creator Series. That is the same throughout all the social media channels, so you can check those out. And don't forget to use hashtag F1 Creator Series to stay and join the conversation as well. Let us know your favorite moments, and yeah, we might share them. You know, that's what this space is for. If you enjoyed the commentary as well, my name is of course George Morgan. You can find me on my social media at George Morgan TV, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. They're all the same. Hayden, where can they find your beautiful face, my friend?
Same as you, George. Well, not quite literally. It's not all at George Morgan. We aren't that tied at the hip with each other.
Nearly.
Hayden Gullis across everything. Just my name. It's simple, with an O, not an E. That's what everyone likes to spell. But that is where you'll find me.
An A?
Not an A, not an A, Dan. Not hey, not with nothing in the middle.
Hey, Dan.
YDN. Yeah, there. I've had them all.
Fantastic. Well, I tell you what, folks, what a race that truly was. A 7-car fight right to the bitter end. It looked like it might have gone GB's way, but there was no magic to be had this time. He'll look to roll the dice again, but it was Alex Gillen who took the top spot, and now the championship condenses up. Who's going to be claimed champion by the end of this season? And Aston Martin, can they close it out as of next week? We'll find out. See you then. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Woo!